G'day guys, I thought I'd do something very different and make a video on the new Path of Exile League Scourge and how to get 36 out of 40 challenges. For me, that's typically my goal in a league, and I'll usually no life PoE until I've had enough and want to play some other games, and at that point I want to get the 36 out of 40 as quickly as possible to get all the cosmetics available and get out. So I thought I'd make a video just in case anyone wants a guide on how to get these challenges done, and maybe offer some tips and tricks depending on what the challenge is, you know, in order to get them done as efficiently as possible. I will state that some of these, or a lot of these, is basically based on a trade league, because for some of the fights that the challenges require, the answer is either get good at it or pay someone to do it as a carry service. And I'll put it out there that there's no shame in doing that. There are people that, you know, their whole economy revolves around doing carries. Sometimes your build just can't do something, it's not capable of doing a challenge, or you might still be learning the game. And in order to get those challenges done, there's no worries at all if you need to go get a carry service, okay? So we'll take a look at the challenges that I've done, and hopefully I can offer some insight into how to go about getting these done quickly. So the first one we've got here is Glimpse an Alternate Reality. You can't really miss this one. The NPC for the Scourge mechanic, the last to die, will appear when you're starting the game, and they'll ask you to do a few things. It's the same as pretty much every single PoE league. The NPCs first appear and kind of introduce you to the mechanic of sticking that crucible into your body. So this one's unavoidable, and you've more than likely already got it done. The next one along is Gear Up, number one. These are, again, pretty hard to avoid getting, but we'll go through them anyway. Boots with an increased movement speed modifier. If you've got boots, you want movement speed on them. That's just the reality. That's what boots are for. That's the big mod that they give, besides other stuff like influenced mods. So this will be hard to get. You just need to get a pair of boots with movement speed, put them on. A rare weapon, the same thing, hard to avoid, particularly when you're doing league start. I know some builds do revolve around having unique weapons, but rare weapons drop by the boatload as you play the game. So all you need to do is just pick one up, put it on, and you're done. And it's the same with a sapphire, topaz, or ruby ring. These things, they sell them at the vendors. They'll drop it on the ground. Just pick them up, whack them on your character. An incredibly easy challenge that more than likely you've done before the end of the campaign without even realizing it. The next one is crafting items. These is basically just getting you used to all the different orbs, which a lot of people will call currency in PoE. So you've got a chromatic orb. The chromatic orb changes the colors of the sockets of an item. You will use these because you will need to obviously have, you know, the right colors for your links. So again, they drop very quickly. You can also vendor any item that has a green, a red, and a blue slot connected, and that will make a chromatic orb. But chromatic orbs will drop quite a fair bit, particularly from the league mechanic now they fixed it up, so no worries there. An orb of alteration, that's used to roll the modifiers on a magic item. Again, drops in abundance, so just pick one of them up, roll it on a magic item, and you're done. An orb of augmentation adds a new mod to a magic item. So you just roll something with an orb of alteration until it has only one mod. Then you use an orb of augmentation to give it a second mod, and you're done. And the orb of transmutation, well, to get that item into a magic item, you just take a normal item, hit it with an orb of transmutation, becomes a magic item. And again, these just drop by the handful. I think by this stage I've gone through thousands of these, you know, just trading them up for other currencies and stuff like that. So not a hard one to get. The next one is defeat these act bosses. You can't miss this one without getting to the, well, you know, if you get to maps. So these are just the first 5 act bosses: Mavail, Valo, Visol, Dominus, Malachi, and Katava. Pretty self-explanatory. Just move through the campaign, beating these bosses, and you've got this one done. Too easy. Now, Awakening the Blood Crucible. This basically means we need to put 20 points into into any of the different skills that are in the Blood Crucible. So if we take a look here, I go over to my Blood Crucible. You just need to start putting points into these. And you can go around and put them in however you want. It doesn't really matter. It depends on what you're looking for. And you can refund these points if you need to. But at the end of the day, by just playing the game, doing the Scourge mechanic, and leveling it up, because as you go into the Scourge, the more monsters you kill, the more XP goes towards leveling this up. So just you do the mechanic, as you go through. Do it when you get into maps, and before you know it, you'll have the 20 points allocated into this. It's again, very, very easy to do, and it'll something that you'll kind of just passively do and achieve. Crafting items, number 2, much the same. We need to use the following methods on an item. A Chaos Orb, the main currency of PoE. Don't be afraid to craft with them though. You know, I've rolled many a Chaos at an item hoping for a lucky strike, but you know, just put a Chaos item onto a rare item and you've got it. Chaos Orb onto a rare item and you've got it. The Glass Blower's Bauble. Flasks are pretty good at the moment. They're actually in a pretty, I think, a good state after what happened last league. So you want to quality up your flasks because it extends the amount of time they go for. And so using a glass blower's bauble on that is the easiest way to do it. It's not the easiest way, it's the only way to do it. And so I'd recommend doing it when the flasks are at a normal rarity, because then you'll get more. You'll get 5 per bauble, 5 quality per bauble. If they're a magic, you'll get 2% quality per bauble. So per bauble is actually hard to say. A hideout crafting bench. Again, this is something that a lot of people will do if you're looking to put some resistances that you're missing on a gear. You're looking to do some more crafts, anything like that. It's all here, and eventually you're going to come to this bench. You're going to use it. And it's typically a lot of people will just end up crafting resistance that they need, but also stats and stuff like that. So another one that's kind of hard to miss, and something that's easily achievable as soon as you open up the crafting bench. A Jeweler's Orb adds more sockets to an item, or changes the amount of sockets on an item. If you're like me and you like 6-linking things, even in Scourge League, you will go through thousands and thousands and thousands of Jeweler's Orbs. They do drop fairly often. You can also take any 6-socket item that drops on the ground, which will be more than likely marked in your loot filter, sell it to a vendor, you get 7 Jeweler's Orbs. Too easy. An Orb of Fusing reforges the links on an item. So much like Jeweler's Orbs, you will use Orbs of Fusing because you need to get your sockets all linked up so everything works together with the support gems. You can get Orbs of Fusing just dropping. They do drop fairly often in this league. Also, you can vendor Jeweler's Orbs for Orbs of Fusing. So if you're looking to get a whole lot of fusings, the best thing to do is actually just to pick up 6-socket items that drop on the ground, sell them, and then turn those orbs, Jeweler's Orbs, into fusings. The next one we've got here is defeat the Scourge monsters. And there's a big list there. Obviously, there's 16. I think I got this done before I'd finished the campaign. I can't be sure, but as you drop into the Scourge environment, by going into the Scourge mechanic, you will get these done. You will eventually kill them. I wish I had more direction for you on this one, but you can't really control, as far as I'm aware, what monsters are showing up where. So just basically get into that Scourge mechanic, blow up packs, and you'll find yourself getting defeat Scourge monsters done pretty quickly. The next one is defeat these act bosses too. This is just the same as the first defeat these act bosses. It's just the second half of the game. So if you make it to maps, you will 100% have this done. There's no other way about it. And if you're looking at a challenge video, I'm going to assume you're into maps. So pretty self-explanatory. Just play the game. Gearing up to equip each of the following item types: Crimson, Viridian, or Cobalt Jewel. These are pretty integral for a lot of builds. It's a great way to get a lot of value out of one slot on your tree. So all you need to do is just go and grab, I've probably got a whole bunch of them here. Just grab any jewel like this one and just equip it into your tree, right? And you're done. These drop quite often. They drop from jewelry chests in any other mechanic. You will find these as you go through. All you need to do is just pick one up off the ground, whack it in your passive tree, and you're good to go. An item with at least 5 linked sockets. You are going to, particularly on league start, a 5 link is a big deal. I know a lot of people, it's 6 link or nothing, but a 5 link item is a big deal. Your loot filters when you're starting off will mark these fairly heavily when they drop. You can also get the Jeweler's Touch Prophecy, which just immediately 5 links an item when you use a Jeweler's Orb on it. There's a bunch of different ways to go about getting this, but it's not too hard. It'll either drop on the ground, You can do it yourself through linking, but I think you'll find one. Otherwise, use the Jeweler's Touch just to get it done straight away. And a unique item, that could be a tabula. It could be anything, really. Whatever you want to put on that's unique. You will find a ton of new unique items. They will drop in abundance, and all you got to do is just pick it up, put it on, take it off, and you're done. So, fairly easy stuff. Master the passive skill tree. Have at least 10 allocated masteries on the passive skill tree. Hard to avoid. Again, I know I'm saying this for a lot of these, but this league, the challenges are actually pretty good compared to other leagues. This one, it feels that maybe they wanted to make up for last league where there was a lot of conditional boss challenges that kind of got people a bit upset. So all you have to do is just allocate your masteries on your skill tree. Right? Not hard to do. They've just been introduced this league. So these are basically what the change they've done to the skill tree to allow more thematic skill allocations. So when you allocate enough in the tree to get to a certain point, you can then click in the middle and decide what you want to do with that, which one of these options you want to take, for example. So this one you can do either by probably just following a build guide. They'll probably allocate those 10 by default because they are very good value. Alternatively, you can just use some Orbs of Regret, respec some stuff, and then just go find them on the tree, allocate them, get the achievement, and then go back to you use more Orbs of Regret and reallocate those passive skills however you see fit. So another one that maybe depending on your build you might have to go out of your way for, but very easily done, very quick to do it as well. Full clearing a map. You know, you want to get the most value out of maps as you can. I can count on one hand the amount of times I've fully cleared a map. Having said that, there's a couple of different ways you can go about doing that. The most obvious thing is just to go around in a map, scouring everything until you've killed everything. When you press tab up the top here, it'll tell you how many monsters remain. So that gives you a good idea of, you know, how many you have to go and find. Can be tricky though, just finding that one last mob that's just hiding off in the corner. Visual clarity is not always the best in Path of Exile, so sometimes it can be a bit frustrating. I'd say that there's also another way to get this in that the Malkoon map. You can, when Fairgraves appears, I don't think I have one. When Fairgraves appears, he instantly kills everything in the map. So if you go and grab that I hope I'm saying that right, Malkoon, here it is here. I can grab one for you right now. And you just run this map. This will actually just happen by default.
Let me tell you.
Not sure if it's intentional or not, but all you need is this map. Run around. Eventually you'll see a little X on the ground, and that's when Fairgraves will appear. And when he appears, he kills absolutely everything in the map.
I will see you again.
Easy challenge done. So it's either one where you do it yourself, or you kind of cheese it, I suppose, if you will, that way. Map Boss Massacre. This one is, I think, one that looks more intimidating than it really is. There's a couple of different ways to go and get this. I think personally, for me, the best way is to get a courtyard map. That's how I've done it. So I'll just see if I've got one. Courtyard map, here it is here. You want a tier 3 because with a tier 3, it's obviously easier to kill the mobs, right? They don't have as much health, so it's easy to get the job done. And what you want to do is you want to roll it with your alteration orbs, just keeping it magic. Roll it until you get the area contains 2 unique bosses. You can see it's on this map here. So there are 3 bosses in the courtyard map. 2 unique bosses means that there are now 6 because it does duplicate each one of those bosses. And then all you got to do is just run into the arena, kill them. It's a very easy map. They're easy bosses, and depending on how powerful you are at what stage, and if you're into, like, you know, endgame maps, this is going to be a breeze for you. You just run into the boss arena and you'll kill all 6 of them within 10 seconds. Not a hard thing to do, honestly. Go buy yourself some courtyards. Maybe you'll have to run it once or twice, depending on how strong your build is, but I wouldn't think so. It's very easy to do. Transform items. So this one is just about time at the end of the day. You just got to whack each one of these into your Blood Crucible and level them up to tier 3. I do believe the item level to get to tier 3 is 68. I might be wrong on that, so I'm sure someone will fact check me if anyone watches this and I'm wrong. But you want to make sure they're a high enough eye level to be able to get to a tier 3 Scourge. So items you find at the very start of the game, you won't be able to get them to tier 3. And the lower eye level you go, the less mobs you have to kill in order to level that item up. So just chuck things in the Blood Crucible, go kill monsters in the Scourge, and eventually you'll find yourself with tier 3 Scourges. You don't really care about the outcome, you're just trying to get these to tier 3. And again, this is just a way of them introducing you to the Scourge mechanic, maybe giving you a look at what mods you can get, and yeah, pretty easy to do. Working with allies, this is just, I think, maybe a way to introduce you to other league mechanics that are in the game. There are a lot in Path of Exile. So anointing an item, that's to do with the Blight mechanic. So if we come down here and we see Cassia,
Hello.
we have an option here to anoint items. So what we have to do here is we can put in a ring, we can put in a map, we can put in an amulet, which is the most common thing because rings you can only anoint to have stuff that affects siege, blight towers and stuff like that. Maps can influence rewards, but this allows us to allocate passives from the skill tree. So you can see here that at the top of my amulet it says allocates corruption. So the corruption, if we go and have a look at our passive tree here, we can see all the way up the top here, far too far for me to travel for it, is corruption, which increases the effect of my withered. That's allocated now because we've been able to do it. And if we just press the Alt key over it, it's going to show what oils we need. So this is a red, a black, and a black. You can see everyone's different. Obviously, you know, golden oils and that are a bit more expensive, so you can go through, if you just wanting to get this challenge done, find a nice cheap node that requires, you know, some low tier oils. But more than likely, if you're following a build guide, it's going to have the best anoints for you, and so you'll do this passively as it goes on if you want to, you know, get your build to the max, and obviously that's what you want to do. So anointing an item, very useful and something you will definitely do. Having a heist rogue reach level 5, you'll get introduced to the heist mechanic as you play through the game, and it was from a few leagues back. Basically, you go in, you do all these heists, surprise, surprise, and you get a bunch of different people that will let you, a bunch of different heists, we'll just go there, that let you, that do different things. You know, you'll have a lockpicker, you'll have a brute forcer, a demolition expert, a trap expert, all these different things. As you do the contracts, they're going to level up in those skills. So if I just press my mechanic button here, you can see here, for example, that Cast, who his specialization is lockpicking, he's at level 5. So typically these guys will have only one thing they can get to 5 in. They will be able to do other things. You can see here Cast can do perception and he can do agility. He'll only be able to get them to level 2 or 3 though. The main skill that he has, lockpicking, he can get that to 5. That's your max level. In order to do this, you just need to run your contracts. All right, so if I want to level up Cast, I just go to my locker, I type in lockpicking, this highlights what I need, and then I can just start going through and running these. Now, obviously when you first start off, you want the lockpicking requirement to be level 1, because you're not going to be able to run the contract otherwise. Then moving to 2, 3, 4, and there you go. Now, if you are running low on contracts, you can come over here to Volcano, and you can purchase a whole bunch of lower level contracts. So you can kind of, because sometimes it's frustrating, maybe you've only picked up requires level 2 of something and you can't run it. These will be level 1s, and level 2s, but mostly level 1s. And his stock will refresh every time you level up, like a vendor will. So there's plenty of opportunity here to grab the contracts you need and level up your heist members. But you just need to get 1 to 5. So heist is a great idea to run. It's actually pretty profitable, pretty chill. It's not everyone's cup of tea with the whole door opening thing. I understand that, but I mean, earlier on in the league, pretty early on actually, I managed to grab myself a replica Farrell's Fur, sold that, gave me a great boost. So definitely worth doing some heisting. Killer Metamorph. You'll run into these in maps. You can influence them with Atlas passives, but over time, eventually by doing maps, you're going to run into the Metamorph mechanic, which is the NPC here. It'll just be a green circle that appears on your map. Not a little green circle like, you know, your, oh God, I forget the mechanic now, the Abyss mechanic. It'll be a larger one, and as you kill things, Tane's going to pop up, and eventually you're going to, when you've killed everything, he'll pop up. You click on the Metamorph thing, you put all the different body parts in, kill your Metamorph, get your loot, go home. So basically, again, something that's hard to miss, and will definitely be present in maps as you go through. And meeting Zana. Meeting Zana is something that you have to do to progress the story towards doing Cirrus and stuff like that. So as you start to expand out into the outer regions of the Atlas, and you start to draw those Conquerors in, eventually Zana is going to appear, pop out, say, hey, what are you doing? Show you the Citadel, and then she's back. So again, by just playing the game, by just progressing through your Atlas and moving to those outer regions as you start it, part of it is meeting Zana. And I'd recommend pushing to do that as early as you can in the league. Just as a side note, Zana is incredibly useful because while Karak is here, she will sell you maps, which is so valuable when you're starting off. It's actually valuable throughout the whole time you play PoE. And she will also, when you find her, you will start amassing her master missions. So you get one of these every day. So you really want to get to this as soon as possible, because particularly early on, Zana missions are key to getting your Atlas set up and to getting those completions done and those bonus objectives done. So yeah, all you have to do is just progress as the game's telling you when you're doing your things, move towards the edge of these areas, and Zana will appear. Job done. Defeating the Golem bosses. I mean, this one's pretty easy in the fact that it tells you where to find them. So, you know, certain maps have certain bosses that happen to be golems. This is not a targeted thing. This is not a golem hate. This is just the way it is. So pick up each one of those maps. Waterways, Vault, Wharf, Flooded Mine, and Grotto map. Run them. You'll kill the boss. Job done. So far, all these challenges, if you're just playing PoE, if you're looking to progress and push into, like, you know, red maps and that, you're getting these done. And in fact, all these would be done by now if you're doing that. So pretty easy to do. And we get to the third gear up. So this is, again, pretty straightforward. We need to get a cluster jewel. Cluster jewels are, well, they've pretty much become a mainstay of PoE builds. Some people like them, some people don't. I think they're pretty great. But all we have to do is just pick up a cluster jewel, allocate it into our tree. If you're following a guide, it's more than likely going to tell you to do this. These come from the Delirium mechanic. The Delirium mechanic. So as you go into certain maps and even certain levels throughout the story, you'll see a Delirium mirror, weird looking mirror thing. You go through that, the fog starts, some random dude starts trash talking you, which I find his voice lines to be some of the best in the game personally. And you'll progress through. As you kill monsters, there's a chance they will drop a cluster jewel. Also, when the Delirium finishes at the end and you get your big loot explosion, there's also a good chance you'll drop it there. Finding a cluster jewel is not hard. Finding the right cluster jewel with, you know, as few passive slots as possible on it can be a bit trickier. You can just buy these from trade, or you'll find one on the ground. Just make your way to any one of these jewel sockets here. There's one here. There's one down here. There's one here. There's another one here. They're basically in every area because every class starts somewhere different. So you'll just need to make your way out to here, whack in your cluster jewel. And you don't even have to allocate it. You don't have to allocate anything on the cluster jewel. You just have to put it into your tree. So very easy to do, and something that you'll more than likely do, particularly if you're following a guide. A heist trinket. This one's a bit trickier because you actually have to go and do a blueprint. So with it, and it's related to the heist mechanic. So with heists, we have two different types of missions we can do. We can do a contract or we can do a blueprint. So contracts are the normal things that you're doing. You're getting in, you're getting a target item, you're coming out, you're selling it for coins, job done, right? So the next thing that will start dropping from your heist chests that you find in maps is you'll start getting these things called blueprints. And so these are a bit more advanced, right? And these require you, if I press Alt here, you can see it has wings revealed 1. So there's more wings we can reveal. It's just like a contract, but with more areas you can go into. And what we're looking for here is up the top where it says heist target. It says thieves, trinkets, or currency. So this is the one that we want to run because obviously it's gonna offer us a thieves trinket. Some of these can actually sell for quite a bit. You can see mine's over here. Mine's just anything. I just went and did it, chucked it in. It's trash, doesn't matter. In order to open up this slot though, you are going to have to do a blueprint. It's not a matter of just being able to buy a trinket. You can buy trinkets, that's no worries. But you are going to need to run a blueprint with this because at the end of in the reward room where you pick what reward you want from that particular wing of the heist, there's going to be a little thing you can click on that opens up this slot. So if you look at your character screen and you don't see this, it means that you haven't run a blueprint. You need to go and you can either farm them or search on trade site for them for one that has thieves, trinkets, or currency in it. Purchase it, run to the end. There'll be a little thing you can click on. It'll say it adds, the trinket slot to your inventory, and then just grab any trinket you can, whack it in, off you go. Too easy. And an influenced item. So certain items in PoE are influenced by various bosses, if you will. So if we have a look here at these gloves, for example, it might be hard to make out. We can see some tentacles moving in the background. It means it's influenced by the Elder. Up the top where the name is as well, where it says Mind Touch Carnal Mitts, you can see on either side there's a little symbol. That's the Elder's symbol. That lets us know that it's influenced. My shield over here is Warlord influenced. You can see the little fire kind of effect coming off it. These will drop from influenced maps when you're chasing down these guys, the Conquerors. You can also put them onto items using the Conquerors Exalted Orbs. This is a little bit more expensive though, and probably something you shouldn't be doing unless you're looking to target something. So what I would recommend doing in this case is just waiting until something drops. It'll usually be marked on your map filter. You'll be able to see it's influenced. It'll have an effect on it. It could even be like the hunter one up here. It's again hard to see, but it has like a green kind of poisony effect coming off it. Pick them up, put them on. They don't have to be relevant to your build if you're just getting challenges done. But again, more than likely, if you're following a build guide, influence mods are very powerful and they do enable some builds to work. So it's more than likely you're going to run across this, but in case you're not, just keep doing, in case you don't, just keep doing Conquerors, keep progressing your Atlas. So for example, if I go in here and I run this Baron map here to go and kill Baron, he's going to drop it. The Conqueror itself, he's going to drop influenced items, so that's guaranteed, but mobs in the map are going to drop it as well. All right. So go down here to completing vendor recipes. So these are a bit more convoluted, if you will, on how to go about doing these. The best thing to do would be to look it up just so you have a list of kind of the best way to go through getting these. I'll run down quickly what you need to do. In case you want to know. So for a Divine Orb, you just need to vendor a 6 linked item. So that's just a 6 linked item. Now, while at the league start, 6 links are obviously going to be incredibly valuable to you. You are going to get more as time goes on. Running any map with corrupted mods on it, doing the temple with the Corrupting Tempest. There's a bunch of different ways to get like corrupted 6 links to drop, which are very easy. Also, you could farm yourself out a tabula. You usually end up dropping a whole bunch of tabulas by the time the league's done anyway. So all you have to do is just simply sell it, vendor it to the to someone. Here I can grab a This is just a corrupted tabula right
Good
here.
to see you.
If I go here and sell this here, you can tell she's going to give me a divine orb. So easily done.
Be careful.
Job done. Got the divine orb. Don't have to worry about it again. An enkindling orb. This one's a bit different. What we need to do here is we need to vendor 4 instilling orbs, 1 orb of scouring, and 1 gem with the trigger tag. So if we have a look at certain gems, are going to have, I need to find one now that actually has a trigger tag. I don't know if I'll be able to. Here we go. Cast while channeling, cast on crit, cast when damage taken. All of these gems are going to have it. You can see up the top there, just under the name of the gem, it has the modifiers that affect this gem's performance: support, channeling, spell, and trigger. So all we need to do is we just need to take our 4 instilling orbs, which are here. You can tell here from how much I have of each one. Obviously the instilling orbs drop a bit more than an enkindling orb. So we just need to take 4 of these, 1 trigger gem, which you can buy off your gem vendors, and a orb of scouring, and you get yourself an enkindling orb. Too easy. We'll do it. Or 1 scouring orb.
Good to see you.
There we go. Get our enkindling orb. Too easy. Too
See
easy.
you.
Alright, next, what have we got next? Next one we're going to do is a regal orb. So we just have to go and get a full set of rares with an item level above 75. So what they mean by a full set is they mean everything that you can equip on your character here. So you want to get some rare gloves, a rare belt, rare boots, rare body armor, rare helmet, 2 rare rings, a rare amulet, a rare offhand, and a rare main hand. Now, you can, as far as I'm aware, I'm pretty sure you can just sell 1 2-hander instead of the weapons, or you can get just a shield or a sword, 2 wands. Doesn't really matter what it is, as long as it's just 2 things that can go in these slots. That's all you need. So a good thing to do, a good way of doing this is just to go into a map, go and complete the map, kill everything, and then either turn off your loot filter or hold down the Alt key so you can see all the stuff that your loot filter has excluded, and just go around picking up everything you need to make the set. If you're struggling to find, say, a rare ring in that map, just take any ring, use an Orb of Alchemy on it. If you're just getting the challenge done, it's all about getting it done as quickly as possible. So, good way to go about it. Just a full set of rares with item level above 75. Now, if you're wondering about item level, if I press my Alt key on this, I can see that item level is 81 there. So, it's just above all the attribute requirements. So, we just want to make sure that what we're doing there, it's hard to not get this, to not get to 75. You just need to make sure that the map you're doing has the right item level on it. So if we have a look at the leyline map here, it says the item level for leyline here is 75, right? If we make it magic, it's 77. If we make it rare, it goes up even further. So you just want to pick like a good spot, like say like a tier 5. By default, item level is 79. So we know we're going to get the right gear here. We're not going to be wasting any time going, well, that's 74 or 68, whatever. Right, a ring of exile. I'll be honest with you, I'd never even crafted one of these before, so I wasn't aware this was even a thing. So we want to basically just vendor 1 rare or magic ring that has a modifier of expulsion. So that's a chaos resist. So you can either roll this using alt. Wouldn't chaos spam it. You can roll a ring until you get the right chaos mod of expulsion, which is resistance. And another way you can do this is to buy it from a trade site. So you can just go into your trade, search for ring of expulsion. Maybe I can show you real quick. Pull up a trade here. So, just doing a search for chaos resistance here. We'll be putting our mods. So we're looking for a ring, non-unique, chaos, because it needs to be a rare or a magic ring. And we just want to put the chaos resistance stat filter on between 21 and 25. And what that's going to do is it's going to return anything that has that. And you can see when I hover over this on the right hand side, the mod's called of expulsion. So all we need to do is just buy one of these. Cheap as chips, easy to get, very easy to do. Once we have that ring, once we've either rolled it or we've bought it, we then need to sell it to a vendor with an amethyst flask and an orb of augmentation. Now you get an amethyst flask as a reward for an Act 5 mission. I want to say it's... Could be a key to freedom. I'm not too sure, but anyway, one of the optional missions in Act 5 will reward you with a choice of flasks, and amethyst is one of these. Again, you can just buy one from the trade site. They will also drop as well, but it'll just be depending on whether your loot filter is picking them up or not. And then you just take an orb of augmentation and you sell that with the ring and the flask, and you'll get an elevated chaos modifier stat ring back. Then you pretty much will vendor it because you're done. The next thing that we'll go through is a unique item. So this one, there's two different ways you can go about doing this. The way that I did it was I was just rolling prophecies, and I got the mysterious gift prophecy, where you sell 5 unique items to a vendor and they will give you 1 unique item back that actually counts as fulfilling the requirements for this quest. Very easy thing to do. I'd say the prophecy is pretty common. I get a lot of them every league, so you can buy it as well. If you're looking just to get this done really quickly, you can buy itemized prophecies. So you just go to your go to the trade site and search for mysterious gift prophecy. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called, and you'll get it that way. Alternatively, there is a recipe. You want to vendor 3 unique items with the same name that are not corrupted. That's another way to go about doing it. You can just collect them as time goes on. Honestly, I think the easiest way to do this would be just to either get the mysterious gift one, roll the mysterious gift prophecy yourself. But if you want to, just got to collect 3 uniques of the same name that are not corrupted, which I suppose will happen as time goes on, I suppose. But it sounds like more of a pain than just getting the prophecy, honestly. And a wicked weapon, this one's a bit different. You just need to get any rarity of weapon. Doesn't matter what it is. A unique rustic sash. So if you just go to the trade site, did I leave that open? Yeah, so if we just go to the trade site, we'll clear our thing here. And you just type in rustic sash. And then we go item category, item rarity. Unique. Hit enter. Boom. Okay. We can see all these. We just need to buy one of these. All right, grab one of them. Get one blacksmith's whetstone, and like I said, any rarity weapon. Vendor them all, and you'll get a wicked weapon back, which is a base. It's just a weapon with the wicked physical prefix on it, and it's a way of them introducing you to the rustic sash vendor recipe for getting, leveling up your item as you go through the maps at the start of the league. A good one to get used to, and to know if you're wanting a very smooth league start and you're going Fizz melee. I'm sure there's literally dozens of us out there that are playing melee, so yeah, good way to go about doing it is just to go and search for that unique sash. You will find one as well. They drop fairly often, those lower tier kind of uniques. But as always, if in doubt, just go and buy it on trade. Expedition encounters. So this is just Expedition went core. It was last league. It was interesting to see it go core. There was a lot of anger, I'm going to say. Anger last league about changes they made. None of them really related to the Expedition mechanic itself, more the changes they made to the base game. But Expedition is now part of the game, like it or not, and this one's pretty straightforward. Defeat runic monsters. So when we do find a expedition area, you'll see that there in the map, you will see that there are a bunch of skulls, glowing skulls sitting on poles. That's a runic monster. And so runic monsters are the ones that will drop a logbook as well. So typically when you're doing the expedition mechanic, you want to target as many runic monsters as you possibly can. So this one you will passively do as you start doing the expedition mechanic. It's pretty good. It's worthwhile. Logbooks are pretty fun and very rewarding. So whenever you see that the expedition mechanic pop up, make sure that you hit all those skulls and blow them up, and then the monsters will come out. If you hover over them, they will say Runic down the bottom in blue, I think it is. But hard to miss. Just do expedition. Naturally, this will come. I mentioned before logbooks. Logbooks are like the map reward of expedition. So as you kill runic monsters, they will hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully drop you a logbook. If we go here, have a look at our expedition locker, we can see that I've got 4 here, that I haven't done. And these are really good fun. Like I said before, very rewarding, and definitely worth checking out. Definitely worth checking out if you haven't. So just keep blowing up runic monsters. Your logbooks will drop. You then got to enter a logbook sub area. So as you're going through and you're doing a logbook, there will be a little icon. It's hard to describe, honestly. You will have to look this up. There is a Scourge newbie analysis guide that a very, very good person puts up on Reddit every single league. I will link to that in the description, and they break down everything much more extensively than I am here. And they will show you the icon you're looking for. When you go into a logbook area, there's just basically a whole ton of icons showing you what rewards you'll get if you do place an explosive there. You're just looking for one of those sub areas to blow up. You'll then go into it. You'll open a bunch of chests, and yeah, you'll get that completed. And defeating an expedition unique boss. There are 4 unique bosses in expedition. Some are harder than others. You can just go into logbooks and hope that the boss is there. You'll see an icon. It's like a skull icon, like a silver skull with like glowing blue eyes. If you go and blow that up, it will spawn the boss and you can start the fight. A word of warning, as you know with the expedition encounters, whenever you're blowing up the things that increase your rewards and have negative drawbacks, those things will affect the boss. So if you go into an expedition logbook and you see a boss icon, it's best to make your way there with the explosives as quickly as you know, as short as possible, and blowing up as little stuff that's going to affect and give them detrimental mods for you. You know, so there's you can either go in and just hope it has, but also I don't think I have one here, but down the bottom with the blue text is. Sometimes I'll say this area contains this boss. So if you're looking to get this done just quickly as possible, you don't want to mess around with logbooks, you want to get in and out quickly, you can just go do a search on the trade site and for a logbook that contains whatever boss you'd like to do. I mean, I think they're all pretty straightforward. Maybe Medved or Medved, if that's how you say it. Or I find Varana to be the easiest, honestly. So you can basically just go there, do a search on your trade site for a book that contains that. You can see here, area contains Varana, last to 4. So you can see that these are a bit pricey. My advice would be that this is one of the things that you do last, because as you're going through and doing some of the other challenges we'll cover lately that just require you to just grind maps, stuff like this is always what I leave to last, because then I can come to my logbooks. I've run a bunch of them recently. I can just look through them and I'll find what I want. It's better than forcing the issue earlier. I'd never say do challenges in the order they appear here. Definitely don't do it. You want to look at the most efficient use of your time. So we'll have a look at how we can do that a bit later with some of these challenges. But my advice would be just to run maps, do every expedition you come across, target the runic monsters. One of the buffs you can give them is runic monsters have a percentage increased chance to drop logbooks. Always hit that, as long as it doesn't, you know, make you do no damage, doesn't make them immune to the type of damage you're doing. But yeah, I think this is something that if you just keep running maps, just keep doing the expedition mechanic, you're going to get the runic monsters done. and then you're going to get a nice stockpile of logbooks. And you can also go down to
Hero.
Danig here, and we can use the burial medallions we got, which is 12. We can re-roll him.
I can scrounge up a few more options.
He can in these options here. Here we go. Here's a logbook. Right, so we love that. We grab that. Beautiful. Job done. Roll it again.
Let's see what
again.
else I've got.
Roll it again. Logbook.
Let's see what else I've got.
Okay, we didn't get one with the boss, but pretty good way of doing it. Whenever you do an expedition, it'll be either one of these 4 people running it, and depending on what the NPC is in the map with you around the expedition mechanic, that'll be what currency you get. So whether it's Gwennon's gambles, rogs, items, stuff like that. Yeah, expedition encounters. Pretty straightforward. The trickiest thing will be getting a logbook with the boss in there. Achieving Ascension. This is just something that you will do as you progress in the game. Every single character wants to ascend 4 times. It's absolutely a requirement for a build. Ascendancy points are some of the most powerful nodes on your tree, and they will define your build. So you'll go through, and it's actually more easier than ever to get the Eternal Lab done, the last lab, because now you don't even have to collect all the different trials in a map. You just have to go through and do one, and then you can go and do the last lab. So if we can take a trip over there. When you go to Act 3, I mean, this is pretty self-explanatory, but when you go to Act 3 and you've found all the trials required to the first Ascendancy, you will, for the first Ascendancy trials, you'll go up here and you'll go into this thing, the Aspirants Plaza. When you spawn in here, always make sure you click the waypoint, because then you can travel to it from anywhere in the game. And then if we just go up here, you can see the activation device. So it even has required, suggested level requirements. And this one here is read it out because I haven't got with me an Offering of the Goddess. So to get an Offering of the Goddess, you just need to do the trials that appear in the maps. And at the end of them, when you complete them, you'll click on the little gravestone thing, and it will pop out a Offering to the Goddess. And you just need to put one of them in your inventory, and you'll be able to do the Eternal Lab. Lab's pretty straightforward. It is pretty easy to do. Usually you're quite overpowered when you go around and doing them. And the Eternal Lab can get some people. At the end of the day, it's just about learning the fight. Watch out for Azaro when you think you phased him and he actually has about 20 moves queued up. Don't take your eyes off him. Just wait until he goes down into his hole. Trust me. But yeah, this is just part of playing the game and something that you'll naturally get. You probably already got it. Crafting items number 3. So we need to, with this, we need to craft with a few more advanced stuff. Nothing too complicated here. A corrupted essence. I've seen some people getting a bit confused about this one. They think this means using a remnant of corruption on an essence. If we go here to our essences, you see here we've got a remnant of corruption. That's not in fact what this is asking you to do. When you go into maps and you do find the essence monsters, the monsters trapped in an essence, you can use a remnant of corruption on certain tiers. You can use it on every one, but you want to use it on certain tiers and certain types of the essences. And when you use that, sometimes you'll get a chance for you to get a corrupted essence, which I don't have any of here, unfortunately. Probably should have prepped, but making this video was an impromptu decision. And these are all very powerful essences. Some builds will require you to get these and to roll particular items. Something you can buy as well if we go and we pull up the trusty trade site. And the best way to do this is to go actually to this section here called bulk item exchange. We click on that. I'll just clear anything I had here. And we go look down here. Eventually there is essences. And the ones at the very bottom here, Essence of Hysteria, Essence of Insanity, Essence of Horror, and Essence of Delirium. These are corrupted essences. These are what we want. So if we just search through via a Chaos Orb, we can see that, here you go, ignoring the first guys that will never respond to you, 21 chaos, 22 chaos. We'll pick one up. You can buy it, whack it on an item. You can look at the best item to apply it to if you want to sell it. Maybe if you get a good roll, you might find that, you know, this particular build needs this essence on a pair of gloves. So you throw it on that, hope you get a good roll. I don't know. So either just go around corrupting the essence monsters when they're at when they've got, you know, screaming essences or higher. I don't think they can get higher than that. I think they can only be screaming as the highest rank they can appear naturally. I'm not too sure though, I'm probably wrong about that. But yeah, just basically using that, eventually you'll get it. Otherwise, just buy it off trade. Not much they can do there. The harvest crafting bench. So the harvest mechanic is something that you'll run into in maps. You'll notice it's got a little, I don't know, a grove looking portal. You'll go in there, you'll kill a bunch of monsters, and it'll give you a bunch of crafting options, which you can also view in your horticrafting station, in your hideout. And harvest is pretty great. You're going to use it if you're playing PoE. It's a great way to do kind of like targeted rerolls. A lot of it's like fossils, you know, we're just looking for rolling, you know, something that has more defense modifiers on it or more attack modifiers. It's a really good way to get jewels, cluster jewels in particular. It's a great way to get some mods that, like, say if we're wanting to add extra crit to our attacks on our chest, there's not that many attack mods on a chest. In fact, there might only be one. So re-rolling a chest with the attack modifier on it in Harvest is a great way to get that hard to get mod. So yeah, in maps you will find the harvest mechanic. Just do that, whack an item in, craft away. It can even be as simple as just honestly changing a map into other maps or anything. Doesn't matter. Just do harvest, you'll get it done. A resonator, this is to do with delve and fossils. So fossils drop from just about every mechanic in the game, as far as I'm aware. You can obviously delve for them, that's where they come from, that's where they were started, but they drop from everywhere in the game. These looking things, and they're just basically a way for us to craft with some kind of direction, which is hard to get in PoE. So we can see here with a dense fossil, this is going to give us more defense modifiers, but no life modifiers. So this is really good for rolling on shields if you're playing like a shield crush or a shield charge character, and the damage that you get scales off the amount of armor on your shield. So what we need to do here is, the challenge is to use a resonator. So the resonator are the things that house it. So if I just pull this off here, if I take this fossil and I put it into this resonator, now I can apply this to any item. So if I take this over here, I go to this thing here, it has to be a rare item. It reforges a rare item. I just right click it, left click it, and there we go. So it's not going to be guaranteed. It's not going to give you a GG item straight away. You will still have to spam a lot of these usually to get what you want. Who knows, maybe you're lucky. But to get resonators, you either need to do the delve and just go to side areas in delve, or go to chests. Alternatively, you can just buy them directly. So if I go here and I go to my encampment, hopefully we've got, I go to the mine encampment. Hopefully I've got some sulfite to spend, or some azurite, sorry. We go over to Nico here, purchase items. He sells these, so you can see here it's 300 azurite. This one's a bit bigger, and this one's a bit bigger again. Obviously, the amount of sockets a resonator has lets you target things more. I'm not going to go into it too much. There's plenty of guides on fossil crafting out there, but all you need to do is just grab a chaotic resonator,
Don't step on
grab
the
a
cracks.
fossil, put it in, apply it to an item, and you've done this challenge. Very straightforward to do. So go to delve, and you'll amass them eventually. Alternatively, you can just go again and buy them from trade. A lot of these challenges you can just buy them directly from trade, but as you're playing and as time goes on, you'll get some resonators. And the syndicate crafting bench, okay, that's to do with Jun. here.
Thanks
So
to
I've
your
just
hard
done my safe house, so this is going to look a bit weird, but as you level up and you open up safe houses, there will be crafting benches you can use, like Guff and certain members of it will let you do crafting benches. It can be also Hillock in fortification, in transportation, adds quality to items. That counts as well. Basically, any time that you get into a safe house and you have to put an item into a bench to modify it, that will give you this achievement. So just run your master missions. If you're in doubt, for your Immortal Syndicate, just keep running these over and over and over. Eventually you're going to unlock a safe house, and more than likely one of the members there is going to offer a crafting bench for you. You can target these by finding out what, like I said, Guff in research is really good, because he'll let you get another one done later that will come across. But yeah, just do Immortal Syndicate essentially. And I wish I had more there for you. There are, like I said, there are certain, members that will do it. I'll link to that guide at the bottom. It'll probably have that spelled out for you, how to go about finding the right ones. But if you are just doing this mechanic, which you should, because it does unlock a lot of really great crafts that are super useful, you should be doing it. You will eventually go into a safe house, run through, and you'll find your bench. Job done. Transform items 3. This is not done, and I actually had a very frustrating time with this. So certain armor pieces are going to give you the opportunity to get these modifiers. So what you have to do is you have to Scourge. Now, I recommend always Scourging to tier 3. You get the opportunity to get one of these modifiers on the first Scourge. You get a greater chance to get them on your third Scourge. Just takes a bit longer to get there. So Curse on Hit modifier, that will be on gloves. It has a very low weighting, so the chance of getting that is very small. Just a heads up. Deal no damage modifier, it's hard not to get this. just Scourge weapons. You'll get this. Like, honestly, I think I've literally Scourged like one weapon for the previous challenge in this whole entire league, and I just got deal no damage. So defense modifiers, gem level modifiers are on helmet. Defense level modifiers might be on everything, as far as I'm aware. Gem level modifiers are on helmets. A keystone passive skill is on body armors. The resistance modifiers are on everything, as far as I'm aware. Very easy to get them, because it's not a plus. It's not like the positive resistance modifier or the negative one. It's just any resistance modifier, and they are extremely common as a negative Scourge mod that you can get. And then the reservation efficiency modifier, that's the one that I've been trying to do. That's on amulets. I have lost count of the amount of times I have tier 3 Scourge and amulet. At this point, it's a lot, and I'm yet to get it. So yeah, a way that you can kind of make this a bit quicker is you can go onto the trade site and you can search. So if we just come up here, you can search for Scourged items. So if I'm coming here and say if I want an amulet to try and get the reservation modifier one, I can go here, amulet, and then down the bottom here we've got Scourge tier. We just put this on 2 and max 2 because we don't want 3, and then we click search. Now we get back all these amulets. This one's halfway on its way to 3. So work smarter, not harder. Go and buy up a whole bunch of these, and that way you get to skip the first 2. You have a greater chance on the tier 3 Scourge, but this is not done for me. So it's not like I can be like, this is how you do it. At the end of the day, this is extremely grindy. This is one you just got to go at and keep going. So not much you can do there. I wish I had more for you on that one, but my advice would be to just naturally Scourge things. This is one of these ones where until you've decided it's time for you to finish the league and you just want to get your challenges and get out, just keep Scourging things. Just keep chucking things in. You will unlock 2 Blood Crucible slots as you level up its skills, but you can get a 3rd will drop from a boss. It's in high tier maps. I think mine dropped in a tier 15. I want to say it's a tier 15. And I'll drop an item that you then go give to the NPC, and it'll give you 3 slots. Nothing that can be done about that. You've literally just got to keep running Scourges and killing the bosses. Speaking of killing the bosses, I definitely recommend doing it because they give you a huge chunk to your Scourge. So, you know, you might, quite often you'll be in a map and you'll kill one and you'll get like 3, you know, different Scourges ready to transform. So definitely do your bosses. They yield a lot of tainted currency as well. But yeah, that's a good way to go about doing it cheaper, is just to buy the tier 2 Scourge online. Otherwise, just what I did is I went and, because you say for example with the reservation efficiency modifier, it has to be on eye level 68 or above. So what I was doing is I was just going and buying amulets from the vendors. Now the vendors in the epilogue and the vendors in Act 10 will sell eye level 69 amulets, and they will refresh that stock every time you level up. So just have this in the back of your mind. Every time you level up, go and buy all of those amulets and then just chuck them in. Just scourge them to tier 1, right? Because that's the first time you get the chance to get the modifier. So just keep scourging them until you've scourged every amulet you've got until tier 1. Haven't got the mod? Okay. Whack them back in at the tier 1 Scourge, and you've got to get them to 3 now. That's where it's going to take a bit longer. But juice your maps up. Get, you know, 200 Scourge a map, and hopefully you'll get there in some time. I don't know. I've ran across a lot of people having a hell of a lot of trouble with this one. So, embrace corruption. This one's fairly straightforward. I don't know if I had issues, strangely enough, with one aspect of this. So I don't know. We'll go through it though. Armor with a corrupted implicit modifier. So sometimes when you corrupt an item, like you can see here with my Carcass Jack, it has +1 to level of socketed gems. So my advice would be just to get a bunch of Val Orbs and just pick up armors and hit them with the Val Orb. You will get it fairly quickly. It won't take long for you to get it. And if you don't care about the item, it doesn't matter about valing it anyway. So yeah, just keep spamming your Val Orbs on body armors, and eventually you will get an implicit modifier like that. And it just basically will change the implicit modifier of the item, or add one, and then you're done. Corruption exclusive unique jewel. These you get because you don't want to get them, essentially. So if you have a look at jewels, I'll see how many jewels I have. We'll see if we can get one to happen right now. So as you collect these jewels, okay, not all of them are going to be winners. And so if you're not going to use the jewel, right, and you have no intention of using it, we can Val it. So if we just start Valing, yeah, first one. So this will happen a fair bit. Okay, we'll cover that in a second. That was two interesting Vals. So yeah, by just Valing these jewels, Viridian, Crimson, and Cobalt, they will turn into a unique corruption jewel. So it will happen. Just keep picking these up off the ground, spamming Val Orbs on them. You'll get it. You'll get it. Don't worry. It'll come. A jewel with a corrupted implicit modifier is the next one, and that's what I just got here accidentally, and it's probably one of the best modifiers you can actually get. So you can see at the top how it says corrupted blood cannot be inflicted on you. So that's an implicit modifier we've got via corruption. This is a very, very good one to get. If you ever get a jewel that's worth anything and you Val it and you get corrupted blood, it's a pretty good thing. It's probably going to be worth nothing now because it's magic. You know, particularly start a league, there are more ways of getting corrupted blood immunity on the tree now, so it's not worth as much as it used to be, but pretty good. So again, if we just have a look here, you can see here we've got just a whole bunch of jewels, right? If I just go through and I just corrupt these, you can see that we've got now the 2 here of the unique corrupted jewels. So like I said, in my experience in PoE, if you want to get this mod done, this challenge done, just take the jewel that you really like, that you're really happy with, and you want to keep, and Varl it. It'll happen. So now if we just have a look through here, we can see here damage penetrates 1% cold resistance. Right? Here we go. Avoid being chilled, avoid being frozen. So you can see out of all the ones we corrupted here, we ended up with 3 uniques and 3 implicits. So not hard to get. Pick jewels up off the ground, press the red face on them, profit. Level 21 gem. So gem levels are pretty important in PoE. They actually, a lot of people don't realize that when they first start playing the game. They just think it's part of leveling, but the level of your gems actually will contribute a significant amount to the amount of damage you're doing. And it can be more for, say, spells and stuff like that, or a chaos build like mine will really benefit. If I hover over here, you can see here that my gem level is actually 24. So the gem I've got in there is level 21, but then I'm using modifiers from the chest, +1, from the amulet, +1, and from a support as well. So this is, you want to get a level 21 gem. Now, how you do this is you corrupt level 20 gems. So in Path of Exile, when you're playing a build, what you want to be doing is in your offhand, and I don't have it having in here because I'm basically jumping out of the league now, you always want to be leveling up gems in your offhand. It is one of the most efficient things you can do in Path of Exile, right? It is a great way to make money, particularly early on. It's a great way to make money all throughout the league, but you essentially just want to be taking, whenever you get your, say mine's poisonous concoction, right? So when I got that gem for poisonous concoction, I just bought 6 more off the vendor. I slot them into my offhand. That's it. Don't pay attention to them again. Just keep leveling them up in the background. Now, when they get to 20, what we can do is we can try and corrupt them to get the level 21 gem, but I'm going to tie it into the next part here, which is a quality 23 gem. So in order to get a quality 23 gem, we want to corrupt a gem that has 20% quality. Now, we can use a gem cutter's prism here, and this gives you 1% of quality per prism. These are actually a little bit expensive though. They're sometimes pretty close to being on parity with a Chaos Orb. So you're not always going to have enough money to do it. And sometimes, you know, if you've got 6 gems, that's a lot of chaos, right? Just to do a shortcut. So what you want to do here is you want to level up your gems to level 20. When they get to level 20, you're going to take the gem and you're going to sell it to a vendor with just 1 prism per gem. So if you're selling your 6 gems that you're leveling in your offhand, you sell those gems that are level 20 with 6 gem cutters prisms, and the vendor is going to give you back 6 level 1 gems, but with 20% quality on them, right? Now you do have to level them up again, right? You do, right? And I understand it takes time, but it's a better and more efficient use of your time to do this than spending all of your chaos on gem cutters prisms. So you level up your gem, you get it to level 20, you sell it with a gem cutter's prism to a vendor. The vendor gives you back a level 1 20% quality gem, and stay with me, you then level it up to 20. Now you've got a level 20 20% gem, quality gem. Then you take out the Varl orbs and you do a spin, you do a prayer, you do whatever it is that you feel gets RNGesus on your side, and you corrupt those gems. And you have a small chance for the gem to become a level 21 gem. They can also go down to level 19. And you get a, from my experience, even smaller chance now of it becoming a 23% quality gem. Now getting a 21, 23, that's the jackpot. That's what you want, right? Obviously. But I found for this, I don't know if they changed it this league, but the 23% quality, I got a 22% quality gem. That was the longest, that was the most I had for a while. But yeah, I don't know. For some, I think they changed it. I probably just haven't read the patch notes properly, but a way of getting the 23% quality here is to, as you do mechanics, they're going to drop gems. Like temples are very good for it. and they'll drop superior gems that might be like 19% quality, 20% quality. They might be 16, 17%. Just collect them and then level them all up to 20%. If you're just going to do the challenge, that's all you want to do. You can even just go onto the trade and just buy level 1 20% quality gems for like 1 chaos each. Just get a whole bunch of them. Just spam Val Orbs on them and you'll get a 23% quality. And the same thing for the level. Just want to get level 20 gems either by buying them or leveling them up yourself. Spam them with the Val Orbs and you'll get your level 21 gem. But you do want a level 21 gem for your build. You do. And a weapon with a corrupted implicit modifier. This is exactly the same as the armor. We just want to be picking up weapons and corrupting them. So as you go through a map, just pick up a whole bunch of weapons. There can be any rarity, it doesn't matter. And then just spam Val Orbs on them. And yeah, away you go. Like it is RNG, but it's not too hard to do. I think it's pretty straightforward. So yeah, basically this is just spamming Val Orbs. The only thing that's like got some conditions behind it is the gems. So level 20 gem and another 20% quality gem. Reaching level 90. This is a good goal for any build. I find most people get to 90 before they kind of stop leveling in softcore because they start dying and the penalty for dying becomes a bit too much. But until you reach level 90, the penalty for dying is not that much. If you find yourself dying a lot, look at your build. Quite often it's going to be your chaos resistance and your elemental resistances in general. You always want to have overcapped elemental resistances. So you don't want it just to be the 78 to 77%, 76% that you can get. You do want it to be a bit higher because that way if you roll a map with elemental weakness, you can still run that map and you're perfectly fine. Or if a monster hits you with elemental weakness, you're perfectly fine still. The most common reasons for people dying is either corrupted blood, which you can get immunity for on the tree or with those jewels, resistances, or chaos damage, because your character has minus chaos resistance and it's not always the easiest stat to find on items. And I find that build guides will actually quite rarely say you need chaos resistance. The amount of times I look at a build guide and the chaos resistance is minus 66%, it's pretty much expected. So just keep playing, play safe, play the level of the tier of maps and the density of maps that you can. You will get to 90. Just keep it up. Delve's a great way to get experience too. So you go into maps, get your Delve juice, your soul fight, jump into Delve, keep going down. Really great way to get a ton of experience. Same with Breachstones as well. Up until a certain level, Breachstones are fantastic for leveling. They give you so much XP. So just keep going, play safe, you'll get to 90. All right, crafting items, number 4. This one's a bit more expensive depending on how you go about it, but we want to, this is like some of the more premium currency. So we've got a Divine Orb here. We covered before how to get a Divine Orb. It's by selling a 6-link. Pretty straightforward. And a Divine Orb changes the values of stats that you have. So let's just take anything that I have here. Let's take the belt. And so we can see here, if we press Alt, it's on the maximum life roll. The lightning resistance is 42, but it could be anywhere from 42 to 45%. The cold resistance is maxed and the strength is almost maxed. So it's not the ideal one that you'd want to divine because the rolls are pretty good on it so far. But if I take this Divine Orb and I click on it, you can see here that stats change. So we did lose 9 life. we went down, strength didn't change, but this is a good way to min-max your items. Right? And yeah, sometimes you just want to get the best life roll out of an item possible. Like I said, min-maxing, you just want to get the most out of items you possibly can. So that's where Divine Roll. Now they do have other uses. Well, I won't go into them now, such as the Radius gem that you can get from Cirrus and stuff like that. Timeless jewels, but yeah, for the most part, sell a 6-link, get a Divine Orb, roll it on an item. Too easy. An Exalted Orb. This is the one that will probably intimidate people the most. A lot of people just purely view Exalted Orbs as this is what I use to buy things. And if you're in Trade League, for the most part, you're absolutely right. Crafting with Exalt Orbs is something that only the upper range of people will traditionally do. Those that are swimming in Exalts and know how to make them. So at the end of the day, you pay the price. So if you're wanting to get this challenge done, just grab an Exalt, click it on a rare item, and it'll give it a new mod. That's what an Exalt Orb does. That's actually what it does. A lot of people don't even know that, but it just puts another mod on a rare item. So you can do that. Another way you can actually circumnavigate this is if you have Guff, who's an Immortal Syndicate member. If you have him in research, he will give you a crafting bench. It's a trial thing where you put an item in and it gives you, I think it's like 20 seconds to spam as much Exalt Orbs and Orbs of Annulment on it as possible. So that will actually count towards this. So if you're looking to save an Exalt, want to be a bit shrewd, maybe you're saving up to pay for a carry service somewhere else down the line, get Guff, get him in research, and run that safe house, and too easy, job done. It's a good way to get around it. Orbs of Annulment remove a mod from an item, so just another way to explore the wild world of gambling that is Path of Exile crafting. So we have some gloves here that I stuffed up before, so we're having a look at all the mods, and all we have to do here is just, we have a look here, it's got 2 prefixes, 3 suffixes, right? We click on it, click on that, boom. Right, and as with every single Orb of Annulment that I've ever used, it removes a mod that I want. So buyer beware. You will amass these as time goes on. Orbs of Annulment you can get from doing Harbinger stuff. So you can run some beachhead maps. You can slot the passive in your tree here. Going down to get that. Diplomatic Escort. That means every map you run will have these creatures in it, and they will drop shards. And shards of Annulment, pretty common. Great way to get them. Very easy way to get them. So also though, it's the same as the Exalt Orb. If you put Guff in research, he'll let you craft an item with Exalts and Orbs of Annulment. So yeah, Sacred Orbs. I haven't dropped a Sacred Orb this league. I remember reading that they're really rare. I bought one off trade. It just changes the base. So if I go into an item here, you can see here it's got my evasion rating is 90 to 101. So before that was kind of stuck, and you would modify that. That was kind of just like a set amount, and you would just kind of modify them. But with quality, it would just enhance it. But now there's actually a range, because GGG. So now there's a range that you can roll in. So a Sacred Orb is basically a Divine Orb for these things at the top, for the evasion rating and the energy shield rating. My advice in this one would be just to do what I did and just to purchase one off trade. So again, if we just go over to our trusty trade site, go to bulk item exchange, click on a Sacred Orb down the bottom here, click on Chaos Orb, job done. Right. So it's a little bit expensive. They were way cheaper at the start of the league. They have gone up a significant amount now. But yeah, there you go. Buy that, click it on an item, honestly. Buy it, click it on an item. Unless you're into like extremely high level crafting, it's not going to matter to you whatsoever what this rolls. So just grab it, put it on something, job done. So craft items might look intimidating because depending on how little currency you have, but if you're really worried about it, the Exalted Orb and the Orb of Annulment, put Guff in research and off you go. Divine Orb, sell a 6-link, Sacred Orb. My recommendation would be just simply just buy it. Defeating the Conquerors in style. Not necessarily. This is like where you start getting into the medium part, I suppose, of the challenges. So they've all got different moves that you're looking to avoid here. Slice and Dice with Al Hasmin is when he, I don't know, he kind of gets all up and starts like coming at you and slashing at you like this. He has a big telegraph. He kind of backs up and goes up higher and then comes in and starts doing them. not necessarily always the hardest things to avoid. If you have a really good build, you can just burn them down. As far as I'm aware, and I might be wrong about this, but I think you only have to avoid it the last time they use it in a fight. So say if you're doing the Redeemer fight and you get hit by one of her tornadoes, just before you kill her, you can go out, go back in, wait for her to do the move again, avoid it, and get it done. So you don't have to give up the first time you get hit by it. And you'll be able to tell that because when you get hit by it, it doesn't immediately go, you failed this quest. Traditionally, in some challenges, you know, if you were to get hit by one of these attacks, it will come up and say you failed. But this one is actually a cute little way to get around it, is just to go back out and wait for them to do it again. When you port back into an area, you'll have a time of immunity. So if you wait until they're starting to do the move, or you think they're going to do the move, you port out and port back in, and they do it, you can just sit there with immunity on. If it's something like the Cyclones, but to actually activate the move, a lot of the time you'll have to be out of the immunity so they can actually target you. So this one can be tricky. You can definitely hire a carry service to do these. My advice though would be to leave this to the end of the league, because you should be running your Cirrus, you should be leveling up your Conquerors, you should be going through and getting to Awakening level 8 on your Atlas and learning the fights. Some of these are really easy. The Redeemer fight, without being hit by any tornadoes, is it's very simple to do. She has a big telegraph where she spirals up. They start from the center, they expand out. There's big holes, like, you know, in the ring of them that you can get through. You can phase, you know, movement skill through them. Like, there's plenty of different ways to go about doing it. Drox the Warlord, without being hit by Crushing Fist. I mean, most likely if Crushing Fist hits you, you're gonna die. It's just, it usually says like, beware of the law, and you see this big fist thing come up in front of you and then go down. You don't want to be anywhere near that. It's very highly telegraphed. All these moves are very telegraphed. The Weight of Judgment is where he raises his thing up and then smashes it into the ground. I know I could be more specific with these. You can look at guides for the particular bosses themselves, but all of these moves are very telegraphed. Things that you should avoid anyway. And a bunch of them are things that will one-shot you anyway. So, for a lot of people. So, learn your Conquerors, or use a carry service. So you can use the Forbidden Trove on Discord. Really useful Discord channel. And there's tons of people there that are running services specifically for this stuff. And they know what they're doing. And you can even have them stream it for you, or arrange it with them. And a lot of them will do it. They'll do the challenge, then you can pay them afterwards. So there's little risk of you being ripped off. There's a vouching system on that Discord, so people aren't going to want to be known as rip-off artists. So my advice would be to learn the fights, avoid the heavily telegraphed abilities, and then if you get stuck, approach a carry service. But there's more than likely, if you're running Conquerors often, you will get these done. I got these done without having to even try them. It just happened. So just watch out for those highly telegraphed moves. Now, this one here is something that you should be working on from the start of the league almost, because this is one that you're just going to have to grind out maps at a certain point. There's no other way to do these. So you can make some of them a bit quicker though, right? So have a look here at Assist the Forsaken Masters. Capture red beasts, 100 of 100. Now, 100 of 100 sounds pretty full on, I understand, but it's actually very quick, very easy to do. So the first thing we can do is...
the job never ends.
Is we can go over here to Lyra Arthane, and in our passives, which we get by doing the Maven mechanic, we can put points in here. So we have red beasts in areas have 15% chance to appear in pairs, and yellow beasts have a chance to be placed with red beasts. All right, okay, going on. Next one here, 10% chance to contain additional packs of beasts instead of other monsters. So you can go in there and you can have tons and tons and tons of red beasts in one map very easily with this. Sometimes you go in there and you've got like 30, 40 beasts more. that appear in the map, you know, and a lot of them will be reds. So it's very easy to do. And we can trigger that by either using our Ironheart missions, which as you can see here, I have a metric ton of, but also a better way and a more efficient way to do it would be to use Scarabs. I've only got one here, a rusted one, the lowest tier of Scarab. So this will put an additional red beast in your map. You can get, I forget what the winged and the gildeds are. It's like 5 extra red beasts in your map. And so you combine that with your Atlas passives, taking no time to do them. And that's how I would efficiently do it. Defeating the Shaper. As you progress through into higher tier maps, you're going to start getting Shaper Guardian maps. They're these ones that have this special little drawing on it. So there's a Lair of the Hydra, Forge of the Phoenix, Maze of the Minotaur, and Pit of the Chimera. And so you need to run these maps. You can run them at any level of rarity. You can run them plain if you're worried. You beat the Guardian and you will get a fragment. A fragment will drop. I have been running Shapers, so I don't think I actually have any left at the moment. Nope. So they will drop one of these fragments for you each. Each one has a respective fragment it drops. Then when you have all 4 of them, you put these 4 into your map device and you will open up a portal to the Shaper's realm and you will do the Shaper fight. This was what the old endgame of PoE was before the Conquerors expansion. This was a big part of it. It's heavily tied to Zana and Zana's lore. I think it's worth getting to know because, I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist and out there, but I think that PoE 1 is going to end with something to do with Zana, probably fighting Zana. If I had to bet, if I had to guess, I'd say that's where we're going. That's where I'd like to go to. But anyway, yeah, you'll put the 4 fragments in after you beat those Guardians and you'll go and do the Shaper fight. Look up a guide if you're worried about it. It's actually pretty easy. Only a few things you've got to watch out for. The Shaper Slam being one of them. The bullet hell moment that he does can be a bit hard to get used to. Again, if you're worried, get a carry service off the Discord I mentioned, the Forbidden Trove. But I would recommend trying it yourself and getting to know it. It's a cool fight, and it's a bit more lore, and yeah, fairly straightforward and easy to do. You can also just buy the fragments off the trade site if you don't want to have to run the maps, or if you want to farm Shaper. He does have a really cool hideout that's very rare. That's a drop, and that's about it for his drops. There's actually not that many good drops anymore from him, but Rip Void Forge. Yeah, defeating, delving to a depth of 250. This will require a little bit of time. What you want to be doing here is you want to be getting as much sulfite as possible from your maps. The amount of sulfite you get is tied to the quantity of the map, so you want to roll your maps with as much item quantity as possible, and run these juicy maps. And you can also run them with Scarabs. Where's the sulfite? Yeah, okay, so here we go. Sulfite Scarabs. So this just makes it so Nico appears in the map 100% and you get more sulfite per node. Pretty easy to do. You can also do it via your map device by running your Nico missions. You get one of these every day for each master, right? And you just want to be going down now.
Were you followed?
A good idea is if I just go to the mine encampment, if you're looking to get this done kind of later, because every time up until level 90 that you get a level, you'll drop, the delve will automatically drop you down another level in delve, right? So if you come up to like the start of my delve, you can see here, yeah, this is just a straight line. Because this was just basically as I was leveling, it would just keep dropping me. So every time you get a new level, down another ring, right? So you can wait until you've got to level 90 or a bit later on, and that way you've kind of gone down the furthest you can for free, if you will. And whenever you get your sulfite bar full here, I'd recommend going and running delve, taking your azurite, and then just going over to the generator here and just upgrading the amount you can carry. That way it lets you do more maps and get more juice, go further every session. It's annoying when you have to come out of maps, go down, do some delve, run back, go do more maps. You know, you want a nice session of delve And the further you go down, the more sulfite's going to be required to go to the next stage of delve. So just keep passively keep upgrading it, and then when it's time to actually start running delve, you can upgrade your darkness resistance and stuff like that, and just keep pushing down. Delve's fantastic. Honestly, it's pretty awesome. It's been reworked this league, and it's very rewarding. You'll see these chambers, these cities, as you go down. You notice here, why haven't I done them? I save these because it's like a fun thing to do, because they just have there's so much maps, currency, the maps. I say maps twice, but when you go down enough and you start doing these chambers, they will just drop a lot of maps, and map sustain is no longer an issue at all if you're delving. So definitely do delve. It's quality content. It's got great theme music. I like the theme music. It reminds me, it's got a very Resident Evil kind of feel to it. Yeah, that's how to do it. And you just want to get down to level 250. So that is going to take a while. You just want to try and look for, you know, sometimes no matter what, you're going to have to go sideways. Like it's just the way it is. Sometimes you're going to have to search for that way down. You can see I got to here, I go to here, I check it out. I can't actually go down here. I've got to go a bit left down, and then I get a nice little section here of just dropping. Final little side, huge, just dropping. So something you'll get used to, but delve is a great way to get XP. That's a great way to push yourself to 90. It's a great way to get, obviously, fossils and resonators, which you'll need for the other challenge. And you need to get to 250 for this one. So, delve. Open the Temple of Asgorodal. God, butchered that. So this is... Sorry, it's a long video. This video is longer than I ever anticipated it being, honestly. You've got Alva here. Alva does the temple. So as you'll first meet Delver. I just combined it, Delve and Alva. Anyway, you'll first meet Alva in the campaign. She'll meet you in a particular area, and you'll start running through the temple. Now, when you go into the temple, you'll be able to pick the left or the right side, and that'll who you kill there will affect what the room becomes. You have to do 12 incursions, so you get 3 incursions per map. So you'll have to, run that 4 times, and 4 times, and you'll then be able to open up the temple and run through it. So I've kind of been messing around here. You can see I've only got 1 incursion remaining. So if I was to run another Alva map, I would do that incursion. Then when I came back out of my map into here, she'd be sitting there with an exclamation mark above her head. I'd go there and I would have an option here to open the temple. I don't have to open up the temple right away. There is another button down here that says take as a temple chronicle, which is really cool. It lets you basically store your temples for later use. It's such a good quality of life feature that Triple G introduced, and this is why they're such a good dev. Obviously they have their flaws like everyone else, but at heart, GGG is great. And so, but previously, like say if you got like the tier 3 corruption chamber or the tier 3 gem corruption chamber, it was kind of awkward. You pretty much had to sell them because you had to run it there and then. There was no other choice, and if you wanted to do more Alvas, that was the way it had to go. Now you can store them for later, you can sell them. That means that you can actually buy them for this challenge. It wasn't working at the start, but now they patched it so it is. So you can go onto the trade site and you can buy just temples that people have already done, already set up. And you don't have to worry if you're just doing this for the challenge. You don't have to worry about what rooms are in there or anything like that. It doesn't matter. Just buy the cheapest ones you can, and you can just literally sit there at your map device, put it in, open it. I don't know. It's a cheap way of going about it, but I would recommend doing your own Alvas, because Alva is the temples are a great way to map sustain. Good way to get currency. They have particular mods that roll on items that are very strong and powerful that drop from the architects of each room. And it's a great way to add map density and size to your map pool. If you're struggling to fill that Scourge meter up, chuck an Alva in your map. Every time you do an incursion, that Scourge meter will be full. So Alva's a great way to juice your maps. And it's just good content as well. Like it's very, very rewarding content. So I can highly recommend you do it. Now, if you're doing this, a great way to get the most out of it would be to go to Glennick, run it in here, run it in this area, and get this. Killing a non-resident architect in areas, 50% chance to add an additional upgrade tier to the surviving architect's room. Huge. And this one's another one. So this is a way just to get to level 3 rooms more quicker. Level 3 rooms obviously have the juiciest loot rewards. So yeah, just run 10 Alva temples. It doesn't take long to run the maps to get it going, and then you can store them up for later and go through and run them in one big rewarding session, and who doesn't love that? Raid Syndicate safe houses. This one's a bit trickier. Again, it's going to be hard for me to show you this because I have just done the mastermind.
Hello.
But you can see here I can click on this safe house button. If I do that, it takes me to a Syndicate safe house. Opens up on my map device, 6 portals, and you just go through, run through, kill the leader, take advantage of any of the crafting mods or chests they have in there as rewards. And yeah, now how you build up this bar here, you can see this one's at 72%, this one's at 58%, is you will either bargain with the people as you come across them, and it'll say, bargain, it'll give you 28 research intelligence. Or you can imprison them and you can get a certain amount of information per turn off them. The amount of information you get per turn is tied to what level they are. So if you're just rushing this, which I was towards the end, I'd gotten all the crafts I wanted. I was just basically leveling people up to tier 3, and then I was just putting them in jail and just keep on running them, and eventually you will get your 10 safe houses. So another good way to go about doing that is to go up here to Haywork, and Mortal Syndicate members executed in areas have a 100% chance to gain an additional rank. So that's how you get them to 2 or 3 really quickly, and then just 10 random things. This is not one you always want on. Sometimes you want to move certain members around to certain maps. So this one, take it or leave it, but if you're just looking to get those safe houses out of the way, 10 intelligence for a random safe house, nothing to sneeze at. So again, I wish I could be more informative, but the idea is just run your dual missions and level them up to level 3 by executing them, and then imprison them. And you'll get the information and you'll be swimming in safe houses before you know it. Pantheon powers. So if we press the H button here, Y button, sorry. You can see we have the Pantheon. This is the thing that Sin introduces to you in the story. If we have a look at this one here, the Soul of the Brine King, you can see at the top in the blue text, you cannot be stunned if you've been stunned or blocked a stunning hit in the past 2 seconds. So that's what we have by default, right? By just equipping it. So you can see down the bottom there is 3 other things that we can get. Now to get this, what we need to do is we need to run particular maps with a Divine Vessel. So if I go over here to Fragments, I go to Divine Vessels. So you can see here that it does buff the boss, which is not that weird. But if we take a look at here and we have a look at our atlas, we can see here, for example, a Grave Trough map, right? It has above it little icon here, this little thing here, this little Sin icon, and we can see in the light blue text, the Restless Shade can be captured for Soul of Shikari. So that's, where is Shikari? Where is it? There. So you can see there it says capture Restless Shade. So if we were to run any tier map in our map device with one of these in it as well, so we'd put our map and our Divine Vessel in there. We run the map, we kill the boss. When we come back out and we open up our map vessel, this will be glowing blue, like a bright blue glow. We take that to Sin, which you can access him in Act 10, Epilogue, wherever you want, and he will upgrade that Pantheon for you. The challenge here is to upgrade 2 of the 4 major ones. The guide I'll link below has a link in it, I'm pretty sure, to what maps they're on, so you can just see. So you basically just want to figure out which one of these you'd like to run, which one of these will actually benefit you a fair bit, and just get the 3 maps, run them, and upgrade your Pantheon. I mean, Pantheon is not the end of the day, it's not the biggest thing in the world, but it is going to help you. Like, it is going to give you some advantages. So you only have to do 2 of them too, which means at the end of the day, in total, you have to run 6 maps to fully do this challenge. So incredibly easy, one of the easier challenges in the league. Complete unique maps. Some of these are more expensive than others. The 2 that I haven't done are the most expensive. I only had to buy 1 other map, the rest I just dropped. You can get unique maps from divination cards. Earlier in the video, we got Malkoon from it. Or you just drop them naturally. I mean, they drop fairly often. It's not that difficult to get them, but again, do all the grindy stuff you have to, you know, helping out the Forsaken Masters, anything like that that requires you to actually run a lot of maps. Just keep doing them, and then have a look at what you don't have and purchase them off trade if you need to. And yeah, they're all pretty cheap, honestly. Some of them, I think Poor Joys might be a bit more expensive. I don't know. Like I said, the only one I had to buy here was oddly enough, Death and Taxes, and then I dropped one like 5 maps after I did it. PoE. But yeah, my advice would be just to do it. Look out for div cards with them. Pick up all your div cards, but you're mostly just going to get these from drops and just buying them. So look at the end of the league, do all your unique maps, whatever you haven't done, have a look, price them all up, find out which ones are the cheaper ones, buy them, get them done. Too easy. Complete each of the following encounters. Combine powers. So with this one, I mean, these are actually, the third one's a bit more difficult. The third one's more difficult, but we'll get to that. So capture a beast holding an essence. All you have to do in this situation is you'll more than likely do this when you're doing the Einhar missions in the Forsaken Masters. So when you're doing capture these red beasts, you're probably going to run into this. But every now and then, when you're doing a map, you will see an essence monster, the monster trapped in like the glass ice stuff, right? And it will have the beast symbol on it. So you can go and do Haywalk up here, and you can essence chance, see? And then here, areas contain additional essence. So, you know, that way you're guaranteed to at least have an essence in the map. And if you, you're running with lots of scarabs, like, you know, your Einhar scarab and that, you have a chance for them to appear there. This is something that will probably more than likely happen naturally. I got this just by doing maps. I didn't target it or anything like that. For some reason, I don't know, whenever you get an Einhar mission in a map, it just seems to be pretty common. That one of them will be in an essence if there's an essence there. So you can buy this off trade as well, off a carry service, but I don't think you'll need to. Just keep doing Einhar missions, and if you do them in areas with essences, you will eventually find an essence beast that is marked as an Einhar beast. Complete a prophecy while delirious. Pretty easy to do. You can wait for a delirium a portal to be on a map, or you can just take any map. It literally doesn't matter. Take any map, and you will drop these orbs. Delirium orbs. You will drop these as you do deliriums. And if I just put this on here like this, you'll need to see now it says players in the area are 20% delirious. This means that the map is always in delirium. So it's not like with the mechanic, while eventually it's going to catch up with you and fade out and your delirium experience will end. This makes the whole map delirious. So that means that you can just go over and load up on prophecies before doing this map.
Welcome.
This one's interesting, a sharpened blade. So you'll greatly enhance the quality of your weapon with a single blacksmith whetstone. So all I have to do is open that map that's delirious, pick up any weapon, and just get a blacksmith whetstone and press on it. And that does it. It's too easy. Mysterious Invaders. Wealthy Exile. You'll encounter a Slayer Rogue Exile, which wears only rare items.
Reunite and march once
Chest containing divination cards in a map. There is so many that will proc when you're doing it, but the one where the Rogue Exiles jump out of the strong boxes, that's really easy because then you just have to put a strong box scarab on the map, and you will definitely get that done. But like I said, the one where you improve the quality of a weapon or armor with a single whetstone or armor scrap, very easy to do. You basically just need to set it up so there's a very easy to trigger prophecy, which can be purchased if you want a particular one, or just roll them normally. The ones I rolled just then, the chance of them not proccing on the map is extremely rare. So my advice would be just to keep rolling prophecies, delirium orb your maps, and you'll get that done in no time. It's actually pretty easy, that one. The next one though is a bit trickier. You need to get a unique Beyond boss in the Sacred Grove. So there's no Sacred Grove mod on Zana's options this league. There is a Beyond which helps us, but there is no Sacred Grove. So what we have to do in this case, if we want to target it, is we can roll our Watchstones with Sextants. Now, it needs to be an Awaken Sextant to get the Sacred Grove one, and it is very rare. I will not get it here. There's a Metamorph one. There's a Nico one. Yeah, so there's a small chance for you to roll Area Contains Sacred Grove, and they'll give you 3 shots at it. So if you're wanting to target farm it, that's what you need to do. Is you need to roll a Watchstone with either an Awakened or an Elevated Sextant. I'd recommend doing Awakened because they're cheaper, until you get the Area Contains a Sacred Grove. And then what you want to do is you want to roll your map until it has the Beyond mod on it as well. So we'll get weird with it here. We'll just see if we can get. We'll just chaos spam this. You can do this with alts, with alteration orbs, rolling it just as a magic map if you want to, but just for the sake of it, we'll just keep on going until we get Beyond. Okay, so here you go, down the bottom. Slaying enemies close together has a 13% chance to attract monsters from Beyond. Cool. So now we've got our Sextant, which says there's going to be a guaranteed Sacred Grove in the next map. We've got our map, which says slaying enemies close together has a 13% chance to attract monsters from Beyond. Great. So what we can do now is when we run this map in that area, we can then also put on the Beyond mod from Zana, which gives us another 15% chance to attract monsters from the Beyond. And then to further, and I recommend doing this, to further push it out, go into Glennock Cans and sponsor and put these in. So again, another 3% chance. That one you don't have to worry about. This one down here, Torn Veil, makes it easy to summon them. So Sextant, and then you can also roll a Sextant mod which has Beyond on it as well. I didn't roll one before, but you can if you want to go that extra step. So then you've got your map roll with Beyond, you've got your Sextant guaranteeing the Sacred Grove, you've got your map, Zana map mod when you load the map, increasing the chance of getting Beyond, and then you've got these Atlas passives increasing the chance of Beyond. There's a lot of increasing the chances of Beyond, right? So even then it still took me, I had to roll a second Sacred Grove. So, because when you go into your harvest, they're all packed together very closely. So you do want to kill the mobs as quickly as possible. Like you absolutely do want to kill them as quickly as possible before, or just kite around them so they don't spread out. Blow up that pack and hope that you get a Beyond. Now, if you do get a unique Beyond boss, come in, you'll obviously be able to hover over it, see the orange thing on its health bar, know it's a unique boss, and it'll be flinging lightning bolts at you, doing fire spam on the ground. I hate the one with the frozen, whatever. They're terrible things. Kill it and profit. You can also, if you want to, you could then portal out, go to the trade channel like the Forbidden Trove, and advertise for the fact that you have the portal up for that boss. Then you have two options. You can either give it for free if you want to be a good Samaritan, or you can charge them, 50 chaos, 1x, a portal, get them to come in and kill them. And it could be a way for you to make a little bit of money while getting a challenge done. But that one can be a bit trickier. It is RNG. It is dependent on a lot of things. But yeah, just keep at it. Just keep at it. All right, what's the next one? Socket Watchstones. This one is something that you will do as you just play through the game to a certain extent. So we've got a Crimson, Cobalt, Viridian, and Golden. Each one of the Conquerors drops different. So Redeemer is Cobalt, Warlord is Golden, Crusader is red, Hunter is green. That's their colors, that's their theme, right? So whenever you kill one of them as you're progressing through the Atlas for the first time, they will drop one of these orbs. These orbs change the maps that are available to you, the tier of maps, and also give you bonuses. You can see here I'm Awakening level 8, which means I have in total 16 orbs slotted into my thing. That gives me all of these bonuses down here, which are very, very good, right? Very, very good. And if you want to be running, the highest chance to get good loot, you want to be on Awakening level 8. So just play through the game. Those bosses will drop those stones for you. You will put them into the Atlas as you progress your Atlas and going from white to yellow to red tier maps. And yeah, pretty straightforward. The other ones are things that drop from Maven. So we can see here it's saying a chromium, platinum, and titanium. So I can pull them up here. There we go. As you start beating bosses at a certain level, you're going to have this bar up the top start to fill up. It's going to start with just 3 bosses. And then it's going to go to, I don't know, like, you can go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way up to 10. When you get up to the 10 here and you fill it up, you will get a invitation from Maven. You will go into Maven's arena. You will fight the 10 bosses that you have fought in front of her. And then she will have a chance to drop these Watchstones. These Watchstones are area specific. So this one can only be used in Lyra Arthane, right? This one can only be used in Glen. Okay. But there is platinum, there is titanium, and there is chromium. These are what determines the mods that can be rolled on here. You can see rare maps have a chance to be corrupted. This one has an increased chance to be Jun, right? So if we're looking to farm those immortal syndicates for the challenge, it's a good watchstone to have. You can buy these off trade. Again, if you just want to target it and go and buy them, you can. But if you just do your Mavens like you should be, because these passives are excellent and absolutely needed if you want to get the most out of your Atlas. And you should, PoE is a much easier game if you are juicing things, if you, as much as you comfortably can. It's the game becomes infinitely easier because you just get more things. It's that simple. So keep doing the Mavens, get up to 10. You'll get your invitations like this. If you're worried about this, just grab them and scour them and do them like that. That's absolutely fine. Like you'll get less drops, but it's okay to do that. Run them, and then eventually you're going to get your different Watchstones, and then you just slot them in their respective areas. And as soon as you slotted 3 in, it's job done. The last part of this challenge is a unique Watchstone. You can get one of them from Osiris. I wouldn't say it's like an extremely common drop. It's not like the rarest drop he has though. Obviously, it's not like a savior or anything like that, or an awakened gem. But you can buy these, you can farm Cirrus. A bunch of different ways to get a unique Watchstone. Probably end up just buying one, obviously, it's easier. And then you can slot these anywhere. You can slot them anywhere. These are really cool because you can actually roll Sextants on them. and then sell them. So if I was to roll this and I was to get like the Sacred Grove, for example, I could sell this Watchstone for 1x, right? By itself, it's worth 20, right? Round 20. But you get the right mod on it. It's a pretty cool way to make some money. And yeah, some of the actual, this map has one additional random prefix. That can be a bit scary depending on what mod it adds. You don't know what it's going to be. Does juice your map up a little bit more though. So my advice would be to farm Cirrus and get this. Or buy it. Either or. Depending on how much time you want to give to it. Defeat Shaper Guardians. So this one's fairly straightforward. All we need to do is we need to get our Shaper maps. And this one we can do when we're doing our Forsaken Masters, because we need to defeat the Shaper, right? So to defeat the Shaper, we need to get the fragments. To get the fragments, we need to beat the Shaper's Guardians. So all we need to do for this one is just have these certain mods on the map. So let's take one for example. Let's just do the first one, right? Guardian of Chimera with increased monster attack, caster movement speed. Now, if you're not worried about this, you can just spam these maps with chaos. But if you are worried about being able to kill these Guardians and you want to make sure you get it done and you don't waste any maps, we roll them with ults. So we have a Chimera, right? So let's just say we've got a Chimera. And we'll just make that plain like this, right? And we're looking for increased monster attack, caster movement speed. We make it magic. And we roll. So I'm not sure if it's a prefix or a suffix, but we won't go into it too much. And so we just keep doing this. It's not going to roll it now, is it? Ah, okay. So this is the mod that it's looking for. It wants you to run, as we can see here, Guardian of Chimera with increased monster attack, cast, and movement speed. We can see we've got that mod on there. So now we can run this map. Just magic as is if you want to. Defeat the boss. It's worth noting that these mods are designed to make these bosses harder. Like Minotaur with more AoE. And it's not unique boss has AoE, it's monsters have AoE, so that's 100%. That can make it a bit trickier, you know. So like the Phoenix with minus maximum player resistances, that can get a bit dicey, you know, depending on how tough and tanky your build is. So be on your guard, but know that the mods they are telling you to run at here are specifically designed to make these particular bosses harder. But magic map, old bosses, you'll be fine. Again, if you want to, you can roll these yourself and have someone run them for you. Get a carry service, have a friend do it, put it on the forums. You'll find someone to do it for you, but you definitely should just try this yourself. And I think you'll have no trouble with it. Depends on your boss though. Defeating the Scourge bosses. As you go into the Scourge mechanic and you activate your Scourge mechanic, you will see these little symbols appear on the map. Orange, red, and black they are, and each one is for a different boss. These bosses can be a bit tough, so be careful. When you approach the boss and you get near it, you'll have to start damaging it. When you damage it enough, the Scourge meter will stop filling up. So that's definitely worth considering. Like that you want to make sure you're always doing damage, but you also want to be very aware of what it's doing and its abilities and its moves, because some of them, depending on your build, will 100% one-shot you. And it might be a matter, if you're struggling with it, you have to go to other parts of the map to get more Scourge juice, come back to where you know the Scourge boss is, activate the Scourge, and fight it again. Really worth doing, because it will fill up it will add a lot more of the Scourge juice to your items. When you kill a boss, it gives you a big chunk to this, so it's very worth doing. Worth noting as well, when you Scourge maps, I've run all my Scourge maps, but there is a chance for one of these mods to be area contains 4, 5, 6 Scourge bosses. And so if you get one of them, you know, you'll go in and you'll do it fine. If you're really worried about it, just Scourge low tier maps and they'll be very easy to beat. But This is one of these things where you can get a carry service for it. I wouldn't recommend it because learn how to fight the bosses. They've all got different things they do. Some are easier than others. The one with the scythe I find to be the easiest. She's pretty easy to avoid. The dude that does the tentacles that come out of the ground, he's pretty easy. The last one, there's a couple of interesting moves, but I think you should always learn how to do the full mechanic in the league, right? I don't think Scourge is going to go core. I would not think it's going to go core at all. I think the tainted currency will, but I don't think the mechanic itself will. So yeah, just keep doing your Scourge. You'll see the icons come up. Go over, start damaging them, keep that damage up, move around, pay attention to what they're doing. You might pay for it the first couple of times, but eventually you'll get those moves down pat and you'll be able to kill them. Not a hard thing to get this. Pretty straightforward. I think one of them took a bit longer. It might have been the Hate Shepherd. He's like the rarest one, I think, but I'll be sure. Complete Scourge maps. Completing Scourge maps is something that you definitely should be doing. You, by default, get one of these, what are they called? It's like it's Dream Furnace. The Dream Furnace slot. So by default, you'll get one, and then you can come down here by upgrading the Crucible, and you can get another one, and then you should start running these, scourging these. They can add some absolutely, yes, they're rewarding. They're nutty. This is at the Scourge tier 9. So as you Scourge, you're going to have detrimental modifiers and positive modifiers. And the further you Scourge something, the more, the better the good modifiers are going to get, the worse the bad modifiers are going to get. So, and they do have different mechanics. So some will be that, you know, you randomly shift into the nightmare. You have no control of it. Some will be that you can't shift into it unless you have 100% juice ready. Others will be you take, you know, there's one that I can't do where you take 12,000 physical damage. Well, I'm an evade build with very low armor, so that just kills me. So I can't actually run those maps. I sell them. But you can see here, this one, for example, rare Scourge monsters drop 8 additional basic currency items, 4 additional stacks of expedition currency, and 2 additional influence items. It's crazy when you're doing these maps. You just go into the Scourge mode, you target your rares, and they just explode. It's really nice, and it's honestly the best part of Scourge. Scourging items itself, I'll be honest, it sucks. I don't like it at all. I think it's really poorly implemented, and I don't think they did a great job at it. They did some patches to make it better so it couldn't roll like direct polar opposites of each other, but still not great. But the maps are great. The maps are worth it, and you should 100% do it. All I did was I just kept on banking them up, and I just had tons to run through, and I like doing that. That's how I like approaching these kinds of things. I didn't run any Scourge maps until one day I sat down and just ran a ton of them, and you know, just put on some good tunes and just a whole lot of rewards and resources. So keep Scourging them. It says of transformation tier 10. So you do have to Scourge them until tier 10. So you can see these are Scourge tier 9s, right? So don't just do it once, do it 10 times and check the mods. Look at them, because all you have to do is you have to complete the map. But you know, if you get the wrong mod on there that does, you know, too much damage for you to handle, you won't be able to do it. So just keep an eye on that, particularly if you're trying to get to level 90. And also, going back to getting the, you know, the Scourge modifiers on items for other challenges. If we have a look at the Blood Crucible here, there is a mod that when in a Scourge map, items absorb 5% more corruption for each time the map has been transformed. Right, so that's 50% at level 10. So it's helping us Scourge items and get to those Scourged implicits that we want more faster. So good to do. Crafting items 5, an Awakener's Orb, a Conqueror's Exalted Orb, and a Maven's Orb. These are rarer drops than others. An Awakener's Orb is a rare drop from Cirrus. What it allows you to do is take, I'm not going to get too into this, but it allows you to, if you have two items. Let's say you have a Warlord influenced item and a Hunter influenced item. What an Awakener's Orb lets you do is it lets you put, say if you've got like, so you've got a Warlord influenced item and a Hunter's influenced item. If you've got one Warlord mod on the Warlord item and you've got one Hunter's mod on the Hunter's item, you can combine those two items and they will guaranteed have those two mods. So this is a way to make really nice items and kind of, again, try and semi-target craft something. So Awakener's Orb effectively allows you to merge. I was trying to craft some gloves before, so you can see here up the top, we've got the cross and we've got the green squiggly lines where the name is. So this is actually an Elder and Hunter influenced gloves, and it's going to be hard to see again, but little effects, there are tentacles and there is a bit of that green poisonous stuff coming off them. And so this can have mods for Hunter and Elder on it, but when I combined these, I got the guaranteed mods that were on them. You can look it up on the wiki or something like that if you want more information. At the end of the day, farm Cirrus or buy it. I think at the moment an Awakener's Orb when I'm making this video is like, where is it there? No, ignore the chaos mod thing. We'll go for exalts. 2.4 to 2.5 exalts per. Right, so farm Cirrus or buy it essentially, and then have a look at how to use it. Conquerors Exalted Orb, these drop from the Conquerors, as the name would suggest. You can see them, there's spaces for them here in your currency tab, and this is just basically an Exalted Orb that imbues the influence onto an item. So if I have a pair of spiked gloves and I slam a Warlord Exalted Orb onto it, it will become a Warlord influenced item. Right, so these drop from the respective Warlord, from the respective Conquerors. I feel like they're like fairly enough common. Like if you're doing Cirrus and you're doing your Conquerors, you are going to come across these. You can buy them again, and certain Conquerors are going to be cheaper than others. So Crusaders is half an Exalt, right? So you can get it, bang it on an item, job done. Sometimes there's like gaps in the market with this. Like you'll have a steel ring, and with a Hunter influence, and it'll be, you know, this many X, but a normal steel ring and a Hunter's Exalted Orb will be cheaper. So you can just buy the two separately, slam them together, and sell them. It's not like always a guaranteed thing, but you know you can make some money there. But yeah, so essentially, again, for this one, just keep doing Conquerors. The Exalted Orb will drop, and then slam it onto an item or purchase it. And a Maven's Orb drops from Maven, and I don't really like doing Maven. It's my my mission for next league is to get really good at Maven. I've done one Maven this league, and it dropped a Maven's Orb. Pretty lucky, extremely lucky. A Maven's Orb allows you to elevate a mod. So if you use a Maven's Orb on an item with two influenced modifiers, it will delete one modifier and make the next one an elevated mod, which is more powerful than the tier 1 version essentially, and can add some extra things onto it. This is high-end crafting, and stuff that you should be only messing with if you're very experienced. A Maven's Orb itself can be quite expensive. We'll have a look right now. Where are you there? 4x. 4x. So this one you can choose to skip in favor of maybe doing like another one I haven't done, like the Corrupted Implicits. If you don't have the currency, because if at the end of the day you can just save up to do this, right? So we had a look. That's 2.5. That's 4. You know, that was half. So you know, that's 7x on a good day. To do this by just purchasing. If you don't have that, you'll have to grind it out. You could also try going into the Discord or maybe general chat and saying, can I pay someone an Exalt to Maven Orb their item, or Conquerors or Awaken Orb their item? So I have seen people doing it. They want to use an Awakener's Orb. they'll advertise saying, hey, if you want to get this challenge done, you can pay me an X and you can do the Awakener's Orb. They will probably ask for collateral and or ask you to stream it on the Discord when you do this. So don't be surprised if that's the issue, if that comes up, because they're just giving you potentially a very expensive item to play around with and an expensive piece of, like if they give you a Maven's Orb and an item, you've got a fair bit of currency there just in raw materials, right? So they're probably going to want something put down for it, but that can be a sneaky way to get around this challenge. Conqueror the Atlas. This one is just literally time spent. So allocating the Atlas passive skills, that requires you to, that's 40 of 40, so each region has 10. So you just keep doing the Maven encounters. Every time this bar fills up as you're progressing through the Atlas, it'll be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Every time that fills up, go do your Maven fight. When you get to 10, you'll get the final one. After you do your first 10 boss Maven encounter, you don't get any more passives for your tree, right? So just keep doing the Mavens as they come up. Keep doing that. You'll get a little thing in your map device here. You tick it on and off. Make sure it's on. So Maven will witness the events, and so any of you fight a boss, she'll be above yelling, meh, meh, or whatever, being a pain essentially, and then you'll eventually she'll drop you an invitation, and you'll be able to go and run her arena. And when you do, like I said, the 10, you would have gotten all the passives. Do this 100%. Passives are awesome. It lets you target farm. It makes running the Atlas a hell of a lot more fun. I think, I don't know where the community is on this, but I feel like everyone's very positive on Atlas passives. I think they're a great addition, and I like the idea that I can enjoy the content I want. I like doing legions, so I can really get more value out of my legions, right? And it makes it just feels good to go like, okay, I've got a bunch of this. I'm going to go and farm this area, and I'm going to get the most out of it I possibly can. And that's what PoE is about. So worth doing. Complete map bonus objectives. So down the bottom here, you can see, we hover over Atlas, completed bonus objectives. So chance for maps to drop at least 1 tier higher, and 74% chance at the moment for maps to drop 2 tiers higher, right? So this is important, particularly when you're building out your Atlas and you're wanting to explore and expand and rise in tiers to get to the tier 15s and 16s, which is where you want to be running, right? This is important. Now, if we have a look here, if you hover over any map, it'll tell you what the bonus is. So in this one, the laboratory, it's just kill a boss of magic or higher version of this map. Because this is a white map, lab's a white map originally. So you just want to run laboratory, and it can be at any tier. It can be at any tier. Like, let's have a look to see what labs I've got here, if I've got any, using this as an example. I've only got it at level 2. So all I have to do is run this as magic, grab that, go to my money, grab this, boom, run that, done. Bonus achieved. And they will change because, yeah, depending on where that thing is. So here we got a corrupted rare. So that'll be maps that are naturally red tier that won't appear until you get to red maps. A corrupted rare. That's when it gets a bit tricky because when you corrupt it, you might get some mods you don't like. There is also just rare as well. Can't seem to find, but believe me, it's there. Where is it? Did I remove it? Oh, all you have to do is just look at the map here. Another good way to do it is in your map tab, and hopefully you have a map tab. You can see here it's listed down the bottom. That bar, that whitish yellowish bar that's lit up. That means that the bonus is done for that map. So it's pretty good when you're expanding through your Atlas and you're leveling things up and stuff like that, and you're kind of progressing through. It's always a pretty good idea to just go back through and have a look at your maps, and you might be going through and you go, oh, okay, wow, I don't have, none of these are lit up. I'm going to go through and run these, and just making sure that I have it. Also, you can press the Alt key when you're hovering over a map, and it'll tell you that you've done the map, you've done the bonus objective and the Awakening objective. We're not going to talk about Awakening because that's not part of the challenge. But yeah, that's a really good way for you to be able to keep track of what you've done. So keep doing them as you get them. When you first start doing it, your white maps will just be complete at magic, and so you should always be doing that because it does help to get that level up. Yeah, pretty straightforward. And reach Awakening level 8. I spoke about this a little bit before. Every time we put more of these in, the Awakening level increases. So if I was to get rid of that, it goes down to 7, goes down to 6, right? So basically this is just, at the end of the day, this is just saying, do the Conquerors storyline. Just do the Conquerors storyline, slot all yours in, and you'll get to Awakening level 8. If you're following the quest line, if you're spawning your Conquerors at the start, every time you beat them up until they drop 4 Watchstones, you will get a Watchstone and just lock them in. And that's it. So just by doing this Conqueror storyline, just by getting to Cirrus, which you should be doing, you will get to Awakening level 8. And it's worth it because there is bonuses there. So we get bonuses for doing the bonus objectives. We also get bonuses for having the higher Awakening level, right? So worth doing and something you can get used to. Pinnacle Encounters I haven't done yet. I'm actually going to go and do this. I'm going to have a little break from PoE and come back because I want to see what this is like. These you'll have to look into or just straight up purchase them. They are very expensive, some of them. Like that Domain of the Timeless Conflict open with at least 4 unrelenting emblems. I reckon that would be around 10 exalts, maybe around that, you know. So these can be quite expensive. These are new encounters that they were introduced this league to give the higher end hardcore PoEers, the gods of the game, something to do. Which is why I haven't gotten around to it because that ain't me. But you know, it's just giving people that are at that higher end of PoE something to do, a little bit more to push for, which I think is really cool. As to how you go about this, I believe these are dropped from the mechanics themselves. I believe a Flawless Breachstone can get dropped from a normal Breachstone. The Blight Ravage map can get dropped from a normal Blight map. As far as I'm aware, I might need correction on that. But this is something that I haven't done it, so you'll have to look into it or just purchase them straight off the site. But like I said, they are expensive. Defeating the Feared simultaneously. This is a tough one. So Maven has invitations that she'll give you for all of these areas as you're doing them, you know, as you're doing the bosses, to go in and do the bosses in her arena. After a while, and after you start doing some of the higher content, she's going to start giving you different invitations. I think I've only got one left. That's, yeah. So this is an example one. This is the Twisted. So this isn't the Feared, but this is the Twisted. So this, the Maven, to trigger this, the Maven must witness me fighting the Purifier, the Constrictor, the Enslaver, and the Eradicator, right? And when she's watched me beat all these bosses, I can then put this into the map device, and I can go and fight all of those bosses, right? Some of these are easier to do than others. That one's actually pretty easy to do. The Feared, though, the Feared is tough. The Feared is tough because it's got Jaula, it's got it's an Uber Elder, it's got who else is it? It's got a lot of high-end bosses in it, essentially, right? So it's pretty rough, and the key thing is that it has to have the modifier. It releases all bosses at once. So you have to get the invitation, do the fights that it tells you to do on the invitation with her witnessing it, and her witnessing it's going to make it harder because she's going to help those bosses, right? And those fights are some of the hardest in the game anyway. And then you're going to have to roll it with alterations. Chaos Orbs if you want to make it rare, if you're that kind of person, if you're that kind of guy. Then they're all going to release it once. And it's going to be very, very difficult. It's going to be a very, very difficult fight. I would recommend you, if you're at all doubtful about doing this, I would recommend you get a carry service for this one. Because unless you're confident in the mechanics and you're extremely confident in your build, you want a lot of defenses. you know, you probably want champion Toxic Rain or something like that. Would be good. This one's going to be rough, so I would look to get a carry service for this personally. But if you want a challenge, give it a go, because at the end of the day, you can always go and get the carry service later. But I recommend trying it. But it's like I said, it's going to be brutal. It's going to watch a version of it on YouTube. A lot of people will do it with extremely high-end builds, like extremely high-end builds. They will farm this for people, and they will make a good amount of money just doing these carry services throughout the league. But yeah, it's an extremely full-on fight that requires you to go and get. I'll just have a quick look. I'm just trying to remember I'm forgetting one. Yeah, Cheula in her domain. It's Ciri, Queen of the Val, in the Alluring Abyss, not in the Apex of Sacrifice or anything like that. The Alluring Abyss. So the Uber it's Ciri, Shaper, and Elder in the Uber Elder fight, and they're all out at once. It's very hardcore. It's very full on. So it's worth looking at least once just to see the madness. But if you can't do this, get a carry, because it's rough. Completely deadly encounters in style. These are pretty straightforward, depending on what you're comfortable with and what the ease of access is to them. You'll see here I haven't done all the Crystal King. That's because you need to find him in Delve, and I haven't found him yet. I've delved a bit. I've gone down to 250. I've looked around, but I haven't found all, so I just haven't done it. Uber Elder, I'm just not confident in my ability to pull that one off. Maven, without being hit by Cascade of Pain, Maven will do a move in the Maven fight where she yells, Cascade of Pain, and fires these like projectiles at you. You can just run in circles. Job done. Cirrus Awakening level 8, so that means we have to have, you know, our thing at level 8, which you should, because it increases his drops, you know, makes the fight better for you financially, if you will, without being hit by the negation beams. Cirrus will, at some points in his fight, spawn 3 other copies of him, so there's 4 Cirruses. They'll kind of go in this cross shape. They'll fire a beam into the center, and then it'll kind of explode, and the beam will kind of spin out around the arena and start rotating. With this one, you really just want to make sure that you're watching where he is, because he'll go into his thing and he'll start making the beams, and then you can just sit in the middle of the wedge where it's not going to form. If you can imagine it's a cross like this, you can just sit there. I know that makes nothing because I'm staring at a camera. I'm pointing at a camera, but you can basically just position yourself, and then just don't panic. I'd say that's the most important thing. You can die in the fight, you just can't get hit by the beams. So just move little bits at a time. When the negation beams do start, he is going to start doing like the die beam and the embrace nothing and stuff like that. So he does do some moves that kill you, and it can start to get a bit, I don't know, full on. And Cirrus is, when you first start fighting him, over time it actually becomes one of the simpler fights in the game. So I did Cirrus the other night with no flasks on a character, just like mucking around with low gear, just showing a mate that it's possible to do the fight, you know, fairly easily. And it's not hard, so you just want to not get hit by those beams. And the Alluring Abyss without being hit by Stormcall, this one is a little bit trickier. You'll notice when Ciri does it, she'll spawn like this little, it's hard to describe, they look like rune things on the ground, like round kind of rune, like glowing rune things. You just want to avoid them. It can get a bit claustrophobic. Her boss room by design is meant to be claustrophobic, and she does a lot of AoE. So what I'd recommend doing for all these is looking them up, the bosses, on YouTube, having a look at the guides, because there are guides on what the moves do, and having a look, and so you can recognize what they do. I'm going to link to that really awesome guide for challenges down the bottom. and I believe that has actual like mini videos of what the moves look like, which is pretty cool, and makes it heaps easier for you. These are great for learning a fight. Sometimes it can be a bit trickier, like, you know, Maven can take depending on how quickly you're getting Mavens and Sirius's up, can be a bit frustrating. You can go to carry service on this one. A lot of people will, but I reckon it's actually a fair bit easier to do. And again, I might need correction from this, and I might come back and maybe do an edit to the video, but I think you can, if you get hit by the beams, say for example on Sirius, if you get hit by the beams, it just has to be that you just have to miss the last time he did them. So if the first time he does the negation beams, you get hit, okay, cool. But maybe the second time he does it, you don't, and then you kill him, you'll still get the challenge awarded. So if you get hit, don't panic. Wait until the move happens again, then avoid it. If you don't, wait until the move happens again, then avoid it, and then kill the boss, and you'll be able to get the challenge done. I think I've picked the 3 easiest ones here, and I think that they're pretty straightforward. I think Sirius is the easiest. I think Maven's the next, and then it's Ziri, just because of the nature of it being a bit panicky. All right, last ones here that I haven't done, and that covers all the ones that I have done, would be Master the Blood Crucible. So this is fully allocating everything in the Blood Crucible. If I go here to skills, I've only got it to, what is it, level 53 of 63. This is a long grind. Typically in every PoE league, there is going to be like a map tier challenge. There is going to be a challenge that is just grind. There's no way around it, and it's usually related to map tiers that requires you to do thousands and thousands of maps. That's what this is, this league. So juice up your maps, run them as juice as possible. Do scourged maps, because they're going to give you more juice, more scourge juice. I don't know what to call it. And just keep pushing. But I've played a lot this league, and I'm at 53. So it just depends. There are people out here who probably have that done on day 5. Yeah, there's just so many tiers of Path of Exile players. There's people up there that are just on another level. So this one is not hard. It's just annoying almost. Like, it's just long. So if you don't know if you want to spend on like the orbs, or they're doing the conditional boss fights and that, strap yourself in, put some movies on, put your favorite streamer on, and just go. And Endgame Grinds are things that I don't know. Like, this is the one that I would say is the least done out of every. And there's always a complete Endgames grind in every league that PoE does. I'd say this is the one that takes is done the least. Level 100 is really hard to get, because as you go up and up and up, the more XP that you need, the XP that you need for higher levels is incredible. Like, there's graphs out there you can get it to show you, but level 99 to 100 of PoE is so much more XP than 0 to 99 is combined, right? Like, it is an incredible amount of experience required to get up to level 100, and every time you die, you're losing a percentage of that, and it can get soul crushing. You need a great build, you need to know what you're doing, and you need to keep it safe. Yeah, watch people like Steel Mage if you want to learn how to do that stuff. Solo delve depth to 1000, just keep going. You're going to need a good build. You're going to need to know what's up with certain delve mechanics, what areas to skip, stuff like that. You need to know delve. And running 50 labs, you can do that if you're looking to farm. This is like the Uber lab, so it's a bit even higher. Rituals is probably the easiest, and so is synthesis maps. And so, there's a bit RNG as well, honestly. But this is, if you're doing the endgame grinds, you don't need a challenge guide. You don't. This is another one that you can do if just given enough time, but it will take a lot of your time. It will take a lot of your time. So yeah, that's it for me. I think that's my very watered down, rundown explanations of how I managed to get 36 challenges, and hopefully maybe it gives some helpful advice to those of you who are looking to get some of them done, so you can finish up the league, or just clear it off your checklist. take a look at the challenges, have an idea as to what you want to go for, and know which ones to save until last. Anything that requires to run a certain amount of things or stuff like that, save it until the end, because that gives you enough chance to build up the resources, build up the master missions, and naturally get it to a point where it will happen. Because a lot of these challenges, this is the best league for challenges in a while. This is the easiest league for challenges. It just is. And by just taking your time and working smarter, not harder, you'll be able to get them done pretty quickly. And I've had a lot of fun playing this league. I think the patch is brilliant, and I've really enjoyed Scourge maps. So I've spent more time in this league than I normally would, but I've still managed to get there, in fair enough time. So yeah, keep at it. If you have any questions about anything, if you'd like me to expand on anything, just let me know. Like I said, I don't know if this is even needed or warranted, and I'm fairly sure someone will come up with a better challenge guide in the future that runs down everything a lot more. But I just wanted to give some insight into how I went about it and how to basically do some of these challenges, because they're not always straightforward from the get-go. All right, guys, good luck with the grind, good luck with everything, and yeah, see you next league.